everybody. Hi, it's Hibika, your favorite Chisa. How's everybody doing? Happy Valentine's Day. And it's struggle time, but happy Valentine's Day. Oh my goodness. Also, there is one thing that I want to switch up here real quick. Let's see. It was, I think this. Merry Valentine's Day. Hello, Sorsha. But I see a Singra. I see a Lovey. That's about it. But it's good to have you all. We're gonna do another read-through of our life. I figured it's Valentine's Day. I really want to get through this game. Not in a rushing way. I definitely don't want to rush. That's for sure. I definitely don't want to rush. But I do want to. Now, the thing I'm trying to change here is just the chat box so that I can see the chat a lot easier, because I realized something. I realized that I usually have them boxed so that you guys can see it. There we go. Hello Game Crazy. Thank you so much for the lurk. I appreciate it. But without further ado, we go ahead and get started with the reading. Please pull up a seat. Get your Valentine's Day chocolate or whatever you... I got booped. Thank you, Livy. Whatever you like to snack on, and just enjoy the reading. This is a chill reading. Let's see, so we left off with these little inklings here. I think we'll do a couple of these and then we'll move on. Let's do Wave. So where we last left off... Thank you, Lexi. That blasted my eardrums, but it was grand. Thank you so much. Wow, 4 months in a row. Holy cow. Gosh, it's so hard to believe that I've been doing this for like... Oh gosh. It's been months. Eardrums must suffer. The Shisa must drown. Geneva Conventions be damned, we must torture.
And then I have to drink more water.
And then I have to drink more water even. Hello, Shadow Killer. Yeah, it was really fucking loud for me too, don't worry. But honestly, I like it when it's loud. I like being loud. I'm a screamer, you know? Alrighty. Anyway. Whoops. I forwarded the text. Oh well. Anyway. Where we left off, we met Cove's mom. And of course everybody's hot in this game, so of course she's hot. And I gave her a really annoying Valley Girl voice, but I'm not quite sure if I should have. Me? I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking, Shadow Killer. Let's see. You were shopping, and you cradled another bag in your arms as you headed towards your house. Let me get closer to the mic so I can give you guys that sweet ASMR you've been craving. Oh, God. Today was a doozy. No. You cradled another bag in your arms as you headed towards your house. It was one of the heavier bags from the grocery store, loaded with fresh apples, ripe tomatoes, and a bunch of carrots, even half a watermelon. There's our hot mom, who came out the front door and paused just ahead of you.
It's no trouble.
Need any help with that, Hibika? I can bring it in the rest of the way if you want me to. Let's see. Let's just say it would be helpful. Moms love to help. Yes, she's a ASMR. Let me get in real close to the mic so that you guys can hear every single breath that I take. You passed Ma again on your way back. Yeah. You passed Ma on your way back to the house, and she gave you an encouraging grin and rustled her fingers through your beige hair. My hair's not beige. Whose fucking kid am I? You set the next bag on the counter. Your older sister began to root around inside for the contents with a sigh. How much is left? Still a few more bags. With a huff and a puff, Elizabeth continued putting away the groceries, and you retreated out of the kitchen before you could become the target of her bad mood. What a bitch.
Be careful.
Be careful, Hibika. You hadn't been looking where you were going and bumped right into Mom, almost stepping on her toes. Sorry. I can give you a pass this time, but be sure to watch where you're going. If you run into the wrong person, you might get your license revoked. Oh my god. She's so lame. She grinned at the bad joke as she continued through the door. Outside, Ma started organizing what remained and putting back any loose objects that had fallen out during the trip. When you stepped up to the trunk beside her, she took in a big breath of air, her dress gently swaying around in the breeze.
That's a shame.
It's a shame we had to spend morning cooped up in that shopping center. It's a beautiful day, don't you think? You tilted your head to the sky, gazing at the clear blue expanse. Let's see. Days like this are my favorite. It's too hot. I wish it was raining. I mean, I do like storms. I like storms a lot. Yeah, storms are really nice. What's worse, dad jokes or mom jokes? I think they fall within the same category, don't you think? Like, where they're so lame that they kind of make you chuckle, but at the same time, you're kind of mad for laughing because the joke was so lame in the first place. Honestly, that's how I am with pickup lines. I love and hate, like, a good and bad pickup line. Like, a pickup line could probably actually work on me if it's the right one. Like, if I was sitting at the bar and you just pulled up and gave me, like, the most ridiculous pickup line that was, like, stupid, yet so good, I'd probably go home with you. I'd probably go home with you. You thought of the past winter, remembering the nip of cool air that would travel off the sea. It didn't snow in Sunset Bird, but being wrapped up in bed listening to the thunder and lightning gave you a certain sense of peace. I'm impressed that you can enjoy something like that. It's a good way to think. You smiled at her, turning back to the trunk to help out with the last of the bags. Oh, hi, Cove! You noticed Mom wave over at Cove, who had just exited his front door. His surfboard propped up under he's going surfing. He's going surfing. Let me see. Surfboard? Wetsuit? Where might you be off to on this beautiful day? Cove instantly startled. Not having realized your family was also out here, even though your mom was the one who called out, you're the one he looked at. He tried to settle down again. He jogged across the pavement to properly say hello to you and your parents. It was decidedly awkward since Cove had trouble figuring out how close to stand to you. The addition of his unwieldy surfboard made the whole thing even clumsier. Careful with that thing. You'll put someone's eye out. Mom chuckled and got a whispered reproach from Ma for it.
Pam.
Pam, please, go easy on him. Cove winced. Sorry. Don't mind her, honey. It's a beautiful day for surfing. I haven't been out on the waves in a long time. I'm jealous. Yeah, I'm hoping to get a few good waves in before it gets dark. Hi, Cove. He looks like someone who would surf both him and his dad. Yeah, they seem like beach people.
Hey.
My dad surfed. My dad lived in California. and he would surf like every weekend, and his mom would, well, my grandmother would constantly chase him around the house trying to get him to eat breakfast, but he always said it was bad to eat breakfast before surfing. I guess it kind of just depends. Cove managed to grin, and it almost felt like you had butterflies in your stomach. Do you want to come and hang out there later? You noticed the flush of red he had in his cheeks, but that might have been just from the... My poor ears. You know, the funny part is that I turned that up. I turned that up because it was too quiet. I turned it up because it was too quiet, and now it makes my ears bleed. I can't win. I can't win, chat. But thank you, Zhao, for subscribing. You've also subscribed for like 4 months. My god. Ouch, am I okay? I'm fine. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. She. Just for you. Oh yeah, not just surfing, but swimming too. It's kind of a myth. Like that if you eat and then go swimming that you'll get a cramp. But at the same time, I feel like that goes for everything, because when I used to run cross country, I would eat, and if I ate the wrong thing, too much, or just like didn't allow myself time to digest, I would get like a stitch in my like on my side, like when I would run. Thank you for the boop. But yeah, I would get like a stitch on my side, and it would hurt like hell. Like it would feel like I've been shot. Like if I ever wondered what it was like to be shot, I'm pretty sure that feeling was pretty close. It hurts. There's they're not Charlie horses. I think they are just called stitches. Let's see. Alright, sure, I'll meet you there. Oh yeah, I could do that. I could be a little flustered. Oh, I could be a little flustered about it. Oh, so flirty. When he spoke again, he tried to contain some of the excitement that was clearly ready to burst out. It'll be fun. You're not done unloading, right? Can I help? No. This is our job. You go enjoy the beach. Hibika can catch up as soon as she's finished here. Alright, I'll see ya. Bye for now. Cove headed down to the beach with one more skip in his step than normal. It was really cute. You smiled softly to yourself at the thought that you'd be joining him soon. He sure seemed to perk up after you agreed to meet him there. I wonder why that could be. Ma. Now, who's giving him a hard time? Lonnie.
Shush.
Shush, it's different. Mom's face broke into an incredulous grin. In what way? I'm being supportive, and he can't hear it. Mom full-on laughed that time. I feel like after these arguments, they like go upstairs and like have the greatest fuck session of their lives. You're the worst of us when it comes to this, honestly. I keep trying to warn people, but they just won't listen. I only want to help. I think it's fair to say he might need it. Meddler, but you have a point. Right? You narrowed your eyes at their teasing, and they simply chuckled conspiratorially before taking more bags from the trunk and heading inside. Once everything had finally been taken in and put away, you got yourself ready to meet Cove at the beach. My scrungle has doodle bob feet. I mean, you're not wrong. I do have doodle bob feet, if you look at them. I mean, they're just like regular little doodle feet, but I get what you mean. Yeah, me hoi me noi. Me do moi hoi me noi. Let's see, you had a surfboard. You weren't sure what to do. He was surfing and you didn't know how. I mean, I did some surfing when I was little. My dad made me go to surfing camp because he thought I'd like it. Truth is, I hated it, but I wasn't bad at it. I wasn't bad at surfing. Can I take your board to the beach? Sure, it's in the garage. Just remember to keep a leash on when you're in the water. After finding the board in the back of the garage and getting everything ready, you headed down to the beach. Doodle Shisa. Have fun, honey. Stay safe. When you arrived at the shore, you were greeted by the crash of waves and the soft calls of seagulls. You took in a lungful of the ocean air and felt your peachy skin warm in the sun. You noticed a small setup nearby with a towel, some sunscreen, and a bottle of water. Must be Cove's. You spotted Cove himself nearby. He hadn't gone out to sea yet. He was just sitting in the sand at the water's edge, his board propped up beside him. You strolled up beside him. Hey, I'm here. Hipika. He looked up at you with a smile and quickly hopped to his feet. I was wondering if you were still coming. I wouldn't have missed it. Let's see. You were able to make him laugh with that one. Then he cast his eyes out toward the waves. Let's see, I'm not that good at surfing. I borrowed this board, but I don't know how to surf. I'm ready to get in there. Will you give me some tips? I don't know how to surf, Cove. Help me. You dragged the toad through the sand. You may have had a board to borrow, but you were totally inexperienced in actually using it. I guess that makes sense. I've never seen you with one before. You laughed a bit, but you felt no less embarrassed. We don't have to go out, you know. We can stay on shore. Or if you want, I could teach you. That's the one. That's the one we want. We want to try it. Let's try it. We try things in this family. I'll do it. Let's do it. Let's boom. Cool. Tubular. You held your ma's board tight. It was settled. You paddled out to sea where the good waves were. The water was cool against your skin. Nice. Not too calm, but nothing crazy. It looks like a perfect day. He smiled at you, and you couldn't help but smile back. You felt totally content. Yes, it works! The foam has been working! I'm so proud of the foam for pulling through and staying strong. Everyone give a big hand clap to the foam. Hey! You splashed me! The apology did not come across as especially repentant, as he was practically laughing when he said it. Splash him back! Retaliate! Retaliate! You laughed, but waiting for an opening for revenge. The second he looked away, you kicked back, spraying him. Seriously? Is that any way to treat someone you're trying to help? Or treat someone trying to help? I came out to you splashed water in my face! I was just following your example, Sensei! Cove tried to keep a straight face, but ended up looking away. The water you flicked at him landed in shiny droplets in his hair. Then here's another lesson. He soaked you deliberately this time. Used his full leg and an impressive curtain of water hit you in the face. You lost your balance and scrambled to keep hold of the board. You just managed to stay on, but it was close. Cove winced. Are you okay? That wasn't what I was trying to do. I'm fine, but we should do the real teaching. Yeah. He chuckled awkwardly and shook some water out of his ear. With that, Cove started telling you all the tips and tricks of how to stay on a surfboard. He demonstrated both good and bad posture, and explained where you needed to put your weight. Like this? You wiggled your body so you were more in the center of your board. Cove nodded. Yep, just like that. The little lesson continued and... let's see. It was disastrous. I wouldn't say that. I would not say that about myself. Yeah. Slowly learning. I'm a slow learner. That's for sure. I'm definitely a slower learner than most. Cove did his best to guide you through the process, and by the end, you had picked up the basics of surfing. Yes. Occasionally, he reached out and touched you. Oh! To more directly help with the positions right. It felt nice. Oh. But if you acknowledged you noticed his touch at all, he would instantly pull away. Since you spent so much time working on balance in stable water, you wondered when you actually get to catch some waves. You brought it up to Cove and he nodded. If you think you're ready, go for it. You'll do great. Alright. With that, you graduated from Cove's class and the two of you were able to surf together more casually. Even if he was still better at it. Gosh, it's as if he's been doing this since he was a kid. What an afternoon. The setting sun was visible on the horizon. Every time you would look away, it sunk a little lower. The beach was darkening, but still pleasantly warm. You knew you should get out of the water, before it was completely dark in the sea. You rode out one last wave to get back to the beach. There you picked up your surfboard and gave it a quick once-over. Poe followed behind you to the shore. He put his board with his other things and grabbed his towel to start drying off. As he ruffled his hair with the towel, you watched the sunset together. The colors were beautiful in the distance, and the shadows around you deepened. There was no need for words between you two, as you both enjoyed the sight for a moment. Cove broke the silence. The waves were good today, I think. Perfect for surfing. Yes, yes. Indeed. You chatted a little more until the conversation truly died out, and all you heard was the rhythmic sound of waves. Then Cove sighed. The day can't be over. Not yet. He scowled into the distance as if the sun exiting the sky was a personal offense. Don't you think it should be longer? Yeah. Cove stood up straight in the defiance of approaching darkness. I'm not gonna go home yet. I want to go somewhere. I don't know. Cove was still dripping in salt water, so you weren't sure what the alternative was. Wetsuits were fine for the beach and not much else. Wasn't good for him to lug his surfboard around town either. Doesn't you be real cute in that wetsuit wherever you go? Well, I need to call it a night. Yeah, I want something to do. I want to be a sarcastic ass. That's what I want to do. I want to be a sarcastic ass. Cole finally took note of his current state and laughed. He shrugged. Then he looked down to the shore with wide, shining eyes. There's at least one place that's always okay to hang out in, no matter what time it is. The park. He nodded. The park was virtually always empty. Elizabeth only went there nowadays if she was looking for you. How times have changed. She used to be so protective of the place. In fact, the only person there was a chance of running into might be that Jeremy kid again. He brought up the idea of the Cove and he cringed, but I'm still going. The sun is still there, a little. I'm staying out as long as it is. No, we're tagging along. We're not going home. Okay, let's go. Cove took a minute to put his stuff in order. He made sure to get it all, though it didn't take much care to shake the sand off. Ooh, excuse me. You dealt with your own things. Let's see. Took time to pack your bag. I usually just stuff everything in there. I'm done! He rolled his eyes with a bent smile at the announcement. He led all the way down to the beach of the park. It wasn't far, so it didn't take you long at all. The sun still hadn't completely disappeared just yet when you made your arrival. Cove stuck his surfboard upright in the sand and tossed his towel over top. By now, the two of you were mostly dry. The summer breeze on your skin kept you pleasantly warm. Cove idly went over to the monkey bars. He grabbed them, feet flat on the ground, and pretended to go across. He had definitely grown in the past few years. You were still short enough to use the monkey bars yourself. Sometimes being tiny had its perks. Tiny gremlin perks. When he got up to the bar in the middle, Cove pulled himself up and through, then sat on top of the bars. His legs dangled off the side of the bar he perched on. I took a seat on the swing! I love swings! You sat right down on the free seat and started swinging your legs. First slowly, but then you added more power to your kicks. Air rushed past your face and ruffled your hair. You built up enough momentum to let it carry you. It was a lazy arc, not high or fast, perfect for having a conversation. Guess what? He smiled proudly and raised an eyebrow. He's not here. Oh, Cove, you're going to hell. Right, it was true. There wasn't a single sign of Jeremy. Looks like it was just going to be the two of you. Thank you for giving Isingra the shout out. If you guys want to, you can follow the mouse. They're going to be streaming a little later tonight, I think, and they have a special surprise, I think. Alright. Cove hung his head and groaned dramatically. Your eyes widened when he whipped his head back up.
No way.
I can't believe how dumb my parents are for forcing me to come. Hold on. Hold on. Dog's got into a barking fit. Sometimes the barking is just too much, even for me. You were taken aback and blinked for a second before you realized he was quoting Jeremy. Don't scare me like that when Jeremy's enough. Ko chuckled back at you, a mischievous glint in his eye. What are they streaming? I actually don't know what Isingra is streaming tonight. I don't know what they're streaming, but it's gonna be a good one. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. Everyone is a good one, but I think this one in particular is gonna be really good. You looked around. The old park, the streets you knew like the back of your hand, and the beach. These were your stomping grounds. Recoded! That's what Isingra's playing. You wondered how Cove actually felt. How much his joke was just a joke, and how much was sincere dislike of his place. And I think that was a sentence. Moving had never been his choice. Do you actually like this neighborhood? You have the... Let's see. I know you don't think it's dumb. Cove kicked his legs carelessly as they dangled. He smiled softly. I like it here. I really do. It's a nice place. He didn't hesitate. There was no uncertainty. That was his genuine opinion. Let's see. Well, at least one person likes it here. Well, of course, I'm here. Cove flushed and started kicking his legs wildly, like he was running in place. It didn't take long for the day to finally draw to a close. The sun was gone, and it was dark. You chatted for a while longer, but it was definitely winding down. Let's see, I wish days were longer. I wish this day was longer. His feet kicked out, made him look like a pouty child. Oh well. Cove sighed. It was time to go home. He hopped down from the monkey bars with a thump when his feet hit the ground. You stopped moving your legs and stood when the swing slowed down. The chains rattled and the swing smacked you into you a little bit. God, this wording, it's so accurate. Getting up for a swing, be like, ow. As the swing slaps you in the ass on your way out. Ko grabbed a surfboard and threw his head. Pookie! You made it, Pookie! It's so good to see ya! How you doing, Smelly? How you doing? With his water bottle in hand, he was ready. You both began your trek up the road. It was a quiet night, and you didn't run into anyone else. In what felt like no time at all, you had reached your street. You're making hot chocolate! Hell yeah! I've got me some apple cinnamon tea. I can't get enough of this stuff, chat. I love apple cinnamon tea. Oh my god, it's like drinking heaven. You don't even need... Yes! I am so sorry, everybody. Are we reconnected now? Oh my god. My internet cut out for no reason. I had to plug everything back in again. Let's see. Let me see. Is everything good on everybody's end? Speak to me, chat. Speak to me. Oh, you got peanut butter moonshine for Valentine's Day, so that's going in there. Ooh. Awesome. That sounds amazing, Smelly. I didn't really get anything, so I kind of just had a few chocolate chips. I had a few chocolate chips, and that was my Valentine's Day chocolate. I'm also trying to be a little bit better. But yeah, my internet disconnected a little bit. It should be fine now, though. It should be. Let me double check real quick. Yep, okay. Everything should be okay. Okay. Well, I guess we'll move on. Bitch, you're getting me candies! Well, I mean, the best part about, the best part about, Valentine's Day is the day after sale when all the chocolates are on sale. And you can just get them for, like, 50% off. It's amazing. But why do I feel like I'm going to... But why do I get the feeling I'm gonna hear, like, a knock on my door? And Smelly's just gonna bust through and be like, I got you some chocolates, you cunty bitch. You both began your trek up the road. It was a quiet night, and you didn't run into anybody else. In what felt like no time at all, you had reached your street. Oh. Come on. Everything okay? I just remember when we were younger. It used to be such a big deal to come home after dark. And now our parents don't even give a fuck. If you got sandy, your parents would have something to say. If you got wet, your parents would have something more to say. And then they'd give you a bath. And if you came home after dark, well, your moms and his dad better have said it was okay beforehand. You used to need permission for everything. That small comment he made exposed just how much freedom you really had this summer. Cove looked up into the sky, a smile still on his face as the two of you walked side by side, reminiscing. When you came to your houses, you turned to each other. Thanks for today, Ibika. I want a hug. Give me hug. 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 I want to hug the hunk. I want to hug you. Thanks for an awesome day, I guess. Ow, no hug. Where's my hug? Oh, are you leaving me, Shadow Killer? Are you leaving me? This was a pleasant end to the outing, you thought. Let's see. I kind of want to move on to the next one. Instead of doing the rest, but like, I still want to see everything. Let's do family. The sun warmed your skin from its place in the sky, and you closed your eyes, enjoying the mix of heat with the pleasant breeze that drifted past you. You and Lee have spread out a blanket on top of one of the hills, but why are we on a date with Lee right now? Don't skip road trip. I'm not. Oh, I guess I'm just reconnecting to Twitch now. Or something. Speak to me, chat. I guess it gave another announcement because I reconnected. Lee had come over earlier that day, and while a range of activities had been discussed, from staying home to heading down to the beach, a picnic on the hill had been the choice you both settled on. A small spread was laid out in front of you, some bottled water, soft drinks, as well as chips and sliced fruit. You sat up and reached for a snack, listening to Lee talk away about the musical she had gotten to see in a few days. Oh, Lee's our friend. I remember now. Lee's our bestie. Our bestie. Let me see if I can't refresh this chat. Can I, like, refresh this chat? I don't think I can. There we go. I hope you guys can see this. Okay. Alright, she talks about musicals, my kind of woman. It was unbelievable. There was singing, dancing, and crazy stunts, and it was all done live, right in front of my face. Maybe one day we could go together. I've got to see more shows like that. He smiled at Lee's enthusiasm, knowing how much she enjoyed singing and performing. And she was good at it too. You gotten the chance to hear her sing a couple of times and you knew she put a lot of effort into it. Let's see, you also like to sing and had a talent of your own. Let's see, I weren't good at, I like to sing. I don't think I'm very good at it though, but I like it. I like to sing. I don't think I have a very good voice though. Even though I used to take lessons. But I don't think that did much for me. That didn't stop you from doing it though. I wonder if maybe we could put on our own show. Think of how fun it would be. We could perform for our parents and ask our friends and some other people to come and watch too. It'd totally work. Let's see. Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. You and me, Queen. You and me, Queen. You actually thought about doing something like that before, but never had the chance to. Lee clapped in excitement and bounced on the balls of her feet, beyond happy that you were on board with her idea. I'm gonna sing. Do you want to too? Or maybe something else? I'll dance, I'll write the song, I'll do some stunt that goes to the music, I'll make the backdrop, I'll do the makeup, I'll pick the outfits. Let's see, I think I want to dance. I like to dance. I love to dance. Okay, we can pick an upbeat song. That way it'll be easy for you to move. Is anything else that's coming to your head? Let's see. I don't think I'm very good at makeup though. Maybe make the backdrop. Yes, that'd make it a real show. I'll paint something. Nebby! Nebby! How you doing? Is there anything else that comes into your head? Nope, that's it. The two of you ran back to your house to grab the supplies you needed, dodging your mom's amused questions before headed back to the blanket to get started. You spread out a large sheet of paper out in front of you and began imagining a backdrop of your scene for the show. Lee and you discussed the plans in detail, settling on a song first and then practicing out parts for the show. The afternoon passed quickly, and the sun dropping lower and lower into the sky, and after having thoroughly worked out how the show was going to go, you decided to drink more water and take a break. Oh, you know, we should have invited Cove to watch us practice our show. He could tell us if it's bad before I've been booped on the nose. Thank you for the boops. I'm glad I didn't choke. Ugh, this apple cinnamon tea gives me life. Oh god, it's like God's fucking nectar. Holy shit. Let's see. I'm glad he didn't see. You guessed that would have been okay. It might have been nice for Cove to be there, but you felt weird when thinking about him watching the show. We could ask him to watch another time. Maybe. It's too bad Derek isn't in the neighborhood today. I like him. Let's see. Yeah, he's a good person. I knew you'd think so. But, speaking of boys we like, what's the relationship status between you and Cove? Is it good? Yeah, let me do something real quick. There we go. Let's see. You shouldn't gossip. I think things are alright. Blushed. Liz blushes. Ooh, you're bright red. I guess it's very good. But, like, really, are you gonna be telling him you have a crush on him anytime soon or what? I'll tell him soon. No way, I'm not telling him. I'm pretty sure he already knows. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he already knows. I'm pretty sure isn't sure. You should declare it to him. You mumbled something incoherent, and she gave you a pointed look. You know that he has a crush on you too. It's obvious for him. It's obvious for you. Why not just do it? You didn't say anything, wondering about the possibilities instead. The two of you talked a little more about Cove, amongst other topics, and you found that it was nice having someone to speak about these sorts of things. Finally, you both decided to pack everything up and head back home for the evening. Lee talked excitedly about the show as you did, and thought back on what you had already accomplished for it. Whoops. Oh no, why are we all disappointed at me? What did I do now? What intervention is this? Look guys, I don't have a problem. Upon walking through the front door, you were met by your moms and Elizabeth hovering over each other in the living room. What did I do? Tension hung thick in the air as the three of them turned to you and Lee, frowning slightly. You had interrupted something. Exactly what? You weren't sure. Oh, wow, who died? I'm scared somebody did die, so I'm not picking this one. I'm just gonna say what's going on. Your moms looked at each other, wondering which one of them was going to speak first. Eventually, Mom cleared her throat and spoke. We're just having a talk with your sister. The room fell quiet again, with no one quite knowing what to say. You felt incredibly awkward, but the silence didn't last long. You don't have to stop just because those two are here. There's no reason to try keeping it a secret. Elizabeth was mad, but with her arms folded defensively over her chest, but your moms nodded in agreement with her. Elizabeth was asking about her parents. Her biological ones. The world spun around you at the news. You couldn't understand. Why was this happening now? Yeah, I have two moms because I'm adopted. I'm adopted. When you glanced at Lee, she shuffled her feet uncomfortably, as though she didn't know she should be there or not anymore. You didn't know either. Your moms had always been open and honest about the fact that neither of them had given birth to you or your sister, but the details hadn't been fully explained before. It made sense that Elizabeth didn't know a lot about her biological parents and wanted to know more. You just hadn't ever thought you'd accidentally stumble into it. Elizabeth looked at your parents expectantly. She wasn't going to let the unintentional interruption derail things. We don't want to keep that information from either of you. It's your right to know your past, but we did want to wait until you asked us to hear yourselves. Well, it's happening now, so... Your mom showed a nervous glance, and Ma took in a quick breath before speaking again. I adopted you from the Philippines when you were just a baby. Elizabeth dropped her arms, her eyebrows shooting upward in surprise. Wait, I wasn't born here? No, you weren't. You could clearly see that your sister was appalled by this information. You struggled even more with what to do or how to react. Am I gonna have to pass some tests to even be a citizen? No, you were adopted into the country. We took care of things, you're already a citizen. Trump isn't going to deport you, you're fine, but he's definitely going to try. You have nothing to worry about. I followed all the laws when it came to bringing a child into the US. Nothing can be held against you. Elizabeth sighed, placated with the information, but still far from happy. Who were my parents? As people? Why did they put me up for adoption in the first place? Ma softly put her hands over Elizabeth's shoulder, trying to provide some support before she gave her answer.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, sweetie. Your parents were reported to have died. They didn't go into details on the specifics of how, but you were an orphan. I wish we had better news for you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was torn between emotions, her eyes filled with tears as she threw her hands in the air. Settling on enraged. Great. So I can never meet them, even if I wanted to? Not that I could have anyway, since they lived in another part of the world, when they were still alive. Elizabeth turned her back on you and your moms and stormed off, sprinting up the stairs to her room before anyone could stop her. I have to go talk to her. Ma immediately started to follow her, but Mom gently held her by the arm and shook her head. We should give her a little space to process. Your Ma's head hung low, but she stopped walking. With Elizabeth now gone, the two of them seemed to remember you and Lee were still standing awkwardly off to the side. I'm sorry. You had to see all that. It's not how I expected it would have happened when the time came. But since it's the topic of the day, Hibika, is there anything you'd like to ask? You deserve to know after all. Lee patted your back and gave you a supported look. Sure, you can tell me. Your parents both nodded in sync to your reply, ready to talk. I can leave if you want to have things be private. Let's have her here. My friend. She's my friend. I can do that. Lee shifted a little closer to you in support, and you were glad to have her there with you. Made you feel a little stronger somehow. You turned to face your parents again, preparing yourself for what they were about to tell you. Ma was the first to speak, her voice quivering with emotion. And then they proceed to describe exactly what my parents look like, and I'm gonna scream. You were adopted as a baby. But 2 years after, Elizabeth. We used a different organization that time, and you were adopted within the U.S. We're sorry to tell you, Hibika, your parents had also passed away, and no other family member took you in, if there were any. My parents are dead! My parents are gone! Then who did I talk to 3 days ago? Was that not my dad? Was that not my dad? That's why we wanted to wait until you asked. We didn't want to suddenly drop that in your lap. We wanted you to be prepared. We're sorry, Hibika. Lee gave you a reassuring squeeze on the arm to show she was there for you. Yay! It's not your fault you didn't kill them, right? I would cry. I think I would cry knowing me. I would cry at everything. A lump formed in your throat just as the warm tears started falling over your cheeks. You wiped them away with the back of your hand, sniffling quietly. Thank you for listening, Hibika. If there's anything else that you want to know, all you have to do is ask. We'll do our best to answer any questions you have. Scrungle time is over! Woo! How are you feeling now? Are you going to be okay? Let's see. Lee watched you closely, as though judging how exactly she should react to what's going on. Let's see. I wouldn't be angry about this. Like, I can understand being angry. Not if you didn't have the ability to rationalize why. I think I would feel fine. I would feel fine. Throw a fit. Throw a bitch fit right now. You spoke with a refreshed tone. Oh, this is so unnatural. No one seemed to have any words after that. Let's see, you went up to your room. You need to stay here with your moms. let's see. I'm pretty sure my YouTube connection fucking passed away. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. I'm pretty sure YouTube like fucking passed away. But let me double check real quick. Pretty sure it passed away. Let's see. Let's see. I need to check to make sure I'm live. Really wish Studio had something for live. But it doesn't, or I haven't figured it out just quite yet. Let me see. Let's see. I wanted to get out of the house. I wanted to see Elizabeth. I wanted to see... Let's see. Let's go up to our room. I feel like we were just... Okay, I am still live. I am still live, thank God. Thank God I am still live. Okay, fantastic. Because apparently I can't check on my own account. I have to go to my alt to look. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Okay. You went to your room. You told... Okay, she can come. Lee nodded without a word. When safely behind your closed bedroom door, you let out a heavy breath before heading over to take a seat on your bed. Lee watched you from where she sat on her desk chair and gave a sad sigh in commiseration. You guessed she didn't really know what she could do to help, but was still trying to be supportive in any way that she could. So, what do you want to do? Can I help? Let's see. I don't want to do anything, just thanks for being here. Let's see. I'm gonna thank her for being there, because she been bestie. She been bestie this whole time. I'm happy to. She paced over and sat next to you on the bed, and you sat quietly together as time passed. A sudden knock drew your attention, causing you to sit up straight. When you realized it wasn't coming from the door, but the window, and you knew exactly who that was. Lee did the same, looking a little uncertain, as if she should be worried by this development or not. You didn't even happen to question who it was. There was only one person who would come tapping at your window, especially at night. You moved closer and looked out, sure enough seeing the familiar head of green hair on the other side of the glass. In only a moment, you had the window unlatched and opened for him to enter. Cove pulled himself in through the window with ease, standing straight in your room and dusting himself off. Lee tried not to let the display break from the seriousness of the situation for her. Cove, what are you doing here? When he saw you, he seemed worried, and he ran a hand through his hair before speaking. I came to the front door. I just wanted to come by, but your moms told me they didn't know if you should be bothered right now. That I should come back later, so I broke in and entered. I hope that's okay. I know they wouldn't have said it like if you were working on some school stuff or whatever, so I got worried. Oh no, he's hot. Oh no, he committed a crime, but it's okay. He's hot. And then you climbed up the side of my house? He smiled, feeling unrepentant, disregarding your mom's ruling. How else was I supposed to get in? You couldn't quite believe he'd really shown up for you like this. But again, you shouldn't have been surprised. He was always there for you.
Are you okay?
Well, what happened? Cove pulled your desk chair next to your bed and sat down, his long legs bent in front of him. He fidgeted a little under your bed with your bed covers, not quite knowing what to say, but he was willing to wait. My parents are My parents are dead! It's okay, take your time, tell me everything on your mind. My parents are dead! My biological ones. Before my mom's adopted me. Without having to say anything else, Cove reached out and pulled you into a tight embrace, his familiar warmth enveloping you. I'm sorry, Hibika. His words were whispered comfortingly into your shoulder. Cry! We cry in this house. We cry! We cry in this house. You pressed your face in the crook of his neck, unable to stop the tears. The hold he had on you tightened. Can you explain everything to me? You nodded softly before taking in a heavy breath and launching into the story. Oh, not the army of crying Hibikas. Cove sat quietly and listened attentively, nodding every now and then or taking in a sharp inhale. Silence settled between you and as Cove sat quietly for a moment, contemplating everything you had said. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet, drifting through the night toward you. Hibika.
I'm so sorry.
I'm really sorry about what happened to your parents. So sorry. He stopped suddenly and took in a deep, shaky breath, and you got the impression he was struggling with what was right to say. Let's see, I'm sad. I would feel sad that I would never get to know them. No matter what kind of people they were, I would just feel sad about, you know, never knowing who they were or how they were like. I'll never find out what they were doing or what they were like as people. It's just all gone. Hibika, you're not doing anything wrong. You know that, right? I think that you can be as sad as you want for as long as you need. Or you can feel okay about it whenever you want to, too. He sighed and ran a hand through his hair as he looked out toward the window.
It's okay.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, whatever you feel about it is how you feel about it. You don't need to force yourself to be different. You keep crying. You cried in relief, you nodded, you cried sadly. I'm just crying really creaky, just keep crying. His words made a lot of sense. You knew that despite everything you were going through, you would be okay. Even as the tears slowly rolled down your face. That thought comforted you. Cries sadly. And your moms definitely don't. It doesn't matter if you're not blood related. You're definitely family. I can see that. And I hope you can too. You felt the reassurance in his eyes. Your cousin tried not to interrupt your explanation or Cove's response to it. When the opportunity arose, she made it clear she shared the same sentiment. Knock at the door made you look up. Though before you could even move, it swung open and Elizabeth was in your doorframe. Like a fucking cryptid. She walked closer and you didn't quite know what to do or what she was planning on saying.
So?
Would you mind going? I want to talk to just Hibika. You can come back, it's not gonna be forever or anything. Ko seemed equal parts concerned and skeptical. Leaving now wasn't a concept that thrilled him. Lee wasn't exactly jumping to go, so she checked with you quietly. What do you think? Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, then we're on the same page. She made a little move-along gesture with her hands, and it was settled. You waited until the two of you were alone before fixing her with an inquisitive look. Elizabeth folded her arms, looking you over, yeah, like a fucking cryptid. Did moms tell you about your parents too? My birth parents also died. Elizabeth broke eye contact after that. I bet you were hoping that they were alive so you could be mean to me, you fucking bitch.
Sorry.
Sorry. Why did you want to talk to me? Elizabeth raised an eyebrow at the question, as though the answer should be obvious. I was worried about you. I was the one who brought it up, but I made you deal with whatever was left when I was gone. She sighed, glancing upwards for a moment before settling you once more. I wanted to ask you what happened without everyone breathing down our necks. I'm amazed you noticed that was unkind. Let's see, let's just be quiet about it. Because, like, we can be as mean as we want, but that's not gonna, like, improve her as a person. She stuck her nose up a little at that, but her smile was soft. I'm okay, Elizabeth. It didn't upset me. How are you allowed to be that mature? The lightning spirits in her were quickly gone as she slipped back into a scowl. You have to be born in the US to become president. What? She wanted to be president? Her? Girl. Okay. You might be orange enough to fit the bill. You'd never heard that dream of hers before. She noticed your bafflement and continued. I get I was never gonna be president, but it just feels weird. Having stuff taken away, not even getting a chance at it. I don't like having to know that when I was born I was gonna have a completely different life. So different I can't even think about what it'd look like in my head. You must be this orange to be president. Hello? I could have spoken another language, lived away from everything I've ever seen here, had someone else as my sibling. And then my parents died, and I was adopted. And the life I got became a totally new thing forever. I can't go back to what it was like even if I wanted to. A heaviness settled between you and the person who became your sister. You knew exactly how she felt. It was a confusing feeling to have lived one way for as long as you can remember, but not having it be what it was originally yours. Elizabeth watched you seriously. She was still trying to make sense of this to you and herself. I don't know why today was the day. I don't know why today was the day. Nothing came up for me to ask the question. It was just something I had in my head for a while. When it was just me and Mom's in the living room, I just kind of said it, finally, and there you go. She shifted from one foot to another, relaxing her stance just a bit. She also spoke more gently. Learning about them and what happened doesn't change how I feel about our family, Hibika. She smirked, fixing you with sharp eyes. I'd already figured out a long time ago that moms weren't our biological parents. That wasn't news. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Technically, one of them could be related to you. You kept listening to Elizabeth. Could have been related to you. Let's see. Let's just keep listening. Nothing about the family I was first born in would have made me decide this wasn't my family anymore. If you had hoped... Your eyes pierced daggers. I definitely read that wrong, that's for sure. If you had hoped you'd be free of my big sisterly status, don't think you'd be so lucky. She bumped her shoulder against yours playfully, her lips tilted at the corners.
You'll always be my little sister.
Aww. Elizabeth. So cute. Wooly, it was you who disconnected my internet. Get back here. Wooly. Eyes pierce daggers. Let's see, let's bump her back. Let's see. You'll always be my family too. Wooly! Wooly did do it. I watched her pull it with her thumbed paws. She did it. All on her own. She's not a baby anymore. She can now be tried as an adult, and I demand justice. We should probably head downstairs and make sure moms are okay. It's been a long day for everybody. You gave her a nod. Wooly did it! It was you who disconnected my internet. Wooly! Down we go. You met up with Lee and Cove just outside the room, and made the short trip to the lower floor of your home together. The familiarity of it all felt nice. When you stepped into the living room, you found your moms quietly sitting together at the kitchen table. They looked at you and gasped. How the hell did you phase into the room like that, they said. Ma gave you a careful smile. It seemed they were too concerned to really register that Cove was inexplicably here now, despite being turned away at the door. We're so glad to see you. Hi. See, everything is alright. That's wonderful to hear, sweetheart. Really wonderful. Ma then came over and wrapped her arms around you and Elizabeth, giving you a tight hug. It didn't take long for Mom to join in, putting her arms around the both of you.
Love you.
We couldn't really have asked for better, kiddos. We love you. More than we could ever say. Moms. Etsy smiled at their comfort. You're smushing me! You all chuckled, the rumble of laughter shaking you all as you continue to hold each other tight. I love you too. They both pulled back eventually and grinned at the two of you, and you knew that you all had each other, and you always would. Well now, since we're all here, how about we do something together as a family? That sounds like an excellent idea. We should have some fun before the night's over.
Totally!
I love the sound of that! Okay. Cove looked a little bashful, likely over being included as part of the family, but he tried to not pay much attention to it. Why not? You hid the smile that threatened to tilt your lips, knowing that Elizabeth must have been in a good mood if she hadn't even teased Cove for being a part of it. And no matter what you could have said about it, you wanted him to be here. He was someone who was really important to you. Who's got a suggestion? It should be something we can do here in the house with everyone in the same room. You suddenly remembered the show you and Lee had been working on earlier. Maybe we can do our show. A show? This is the first time we're hearing about this. I'm intrigued. It would be amazing if you put it on for us to watch. Oh yeah, I need to see what you've cooked up. That'd be cool. You smiled at Lee, who returned the gesture while bouncing on her heels in excitement. Take some seats. We'll get everything together. Your moms collected the chairs around the dining table and set them in a row in the living room, where there was enough space for the show. While they did that, you and Lee quickly gathered the supplies you needed and rehashed the plan one last time. You listened through the song you had chosen one last time. You also took a moment to cycle through the dance moves you had planned. The backdrop you had prepared earlier was also ready to go now that it was needed. When the two of you had returned to the living room, everyone was sitting and chatting amongst themselves while they waited. The group quieted down when you and Lee stood in front of them on your makeshift stage. Lee was buzzing quietly with excitement beside you. You're pumped for the show and trying to feel nervous. I feel so nervous. No matter how small that audience was, it was still all eyes on you. Okay, so, welcome to our show. We only came up with it today, but we promise it'll be good. Stay quiet. Thank you for being... No refunds. Laughter rippled through the mini audience. Then you nodded at Lee that you were ready to begin. Lee took in a deep breath, waiting the few beats it took to get into the song, and started singing. The dance moves you had practiced went perfectly with the tempo of the song, as I got boy blasted and fell off the stage. The backdrop you had created gave great atmosphere to work off of. When the performance was over, Lee took your hand in hers, and the two of you bowed deeply together. Everyone gave you a round of applause and cheered for an encore. When you straightened yourself up, you were happy to see that even Elizabeth was clapping for you. Bravo! Bravo!
Good job.
You are so talented. Your family rose from their seats and came over to congratulate you more directly. You were beaming from ear to ear. Cove was the first one to approach, stepping up to you and Lee with a smile on his face. Nice job. Thank you. You're a really great dancer, Hibika. It was cool. Aw. Luckily the other crowd is pretty good, huh? It's blush. Cove chuckled and shook his head. Hey, were you the one who painted the backdrop? Yeah, that was me. Cove smiled, content over his guess being correct.
Not bad.
I thought so. It was good. You couldn't help but feel flattered that he would recognize your talent so easily. Your parents gushed about how great everything was, and thanked you for sharing it with them. Elizabeth was complimentary in her own way, although she did describe the show as cute, which you knew she meant it as kinda kiddie. You laughed it off, however, and were just as happy that everyone had a nice time. In that moment, you couldn't have been more pleased to be a part of the family you had. Alrighty. Now, you know what? Yeah, we're not skipping on family. We're gonna... You know what? Might as well just do it all. Next one! Dinner. Oh god, I busted my lip, chat. Ow. Oh fuck. Why are my lips so chapped? Oh, son of a Christ. Sunlight shone through the windows as you sat in your living room, your home phone pressed to your ear. Cove was on the other end. It had been shaping up to be an ordinary day just like any other, until Cove had called unexpectedly. He sounded unusually nervous greeting you. You listened silently as he kept talking, his words stilted. So I was just wondering, do you want to come over to my house for oh my god. You want me to go on a date at your house? The question came out strangely, almost like he rehearsed it a few times beforehand. Your eyes widened a little. You hadn't expected this to be the reason behind the call. Yeah, I'll go. It was... Huh? Oh! It seemed that Cove still had more to say, and you just interrupted. Oops. Whoopsies. Cool, well... he stumbled for a bit, trying to gather his thoughts again. My mom and dad, they really wanted to be there. If your parents don't have a problem with it, they asked me to ask you. You know, I feel like in the redeem section for these types of streams, I should put in like a laugh track and like an awe. And maybe a gasp. I feel like that would be a great idea, actually. Cove spoke up again, breaking your thought train. His voice was softer than before. Also, I want you to be there too. That would be so fun! Yes, bestie, yes! That sounds so good! Let's see... That does sound really good. I'll be sure to do that next time. Whoop. Sorry. It's shitting itself. It's shitting itself. Give it a second. Shitting itself. Shitting itself. Also, I want you to be there too. Can you come over? I mean... Yeah, I can come. That's my mom's. Yeah. I'll just say yeah, because he's already a nervous mess and so am I. Thanks, Hibika. I'll let them know when I can. He sounded noticeably relieved by your response. Was you coming over for dinner today that serious? He spoke to you for a little while longer, to explain what time to come over and other details, then hung up, without even saying goodbye. He was a prick that way, and that was that for now. Anyway. Soon enough, the sun dipped out of the sky and evening came. It was time for you to head to Cove's house. After letting Elizabeth know you were leaving, she didn't even look away from the TV, just grunted. You made the small journey across the street. Oh yeah, such a journey. It took all but 2 minutes. You knocked a couple of times on the heavy door to their condo. As you waited for an answer, you found yourself contemplating being a guest Well, both of Cove's parents were there. It was exciting, you were apprehensive, the idea made you curious. I mean, it made me curious. Yeah, about why I got the sudden invite. Because, you know, we've known each other for years. You didn't get too much time with your thoughts, though. The door opened soon enough. Cove's mom, Kyra, stood in the frame, smiling warmly at you. You know, I just have a feeling that since Kyra's, like, staying over, do you think that Cove's dad and Kyra are definitely, like, banging? Like, having some, like, revenge sex or something like that? Because, like, I know she's here for Cove, but come on. That's what exes do sometimes.
Come on.
Hey, Hibika, welcome. Please come in. She opened. I feel like I should give her like more of a sultry tone of voice, more of like a sing-songy voice than the Valley Girl voice I gave her, because she definitely has that kind of voice. She opened the door wider and moved to make room. I forgot everything I was gonna say. Okay, I remembered. She opened the door wider and moved to make room. You stepped inside, allowing her to shut it behind you. Thanks so much for coming over. I know it was kind of last second. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Of course. Just make yourself at home. It's not my home, but I've been given permission to say that. Hey, Hibiko, welcome to our humble abode. You jerked your head toward the sound of Mr. Holden's voice. He waved at you briefly from the kitchen, with his back turned, a large spoon in hand. He's doing all the cooking. Hope you're hungry, because I'm whipping up a lot of tasty stuff. God, that is the face of a charmer. That is just the face of a charmer. My God. True to his word, you heard something sizzling on the stove. You closed your eyes and inhaled. It smelled spicy and savory. With Mr. Holden busy and Cove nowhere to be seen, it was just you and Kyra. She gave you a wry smile. Oh God, why are you looking at me like that, girl? I just looked up and you give me the bedroom eyes. Holy fuck. He sure is. Well, I've been barred from cooking the entire time I'm staying here. Can you believe that? She nudged you with an elbow. Mr. Holden scoffed good-naturedly, then spoke from over his shoulder. You're on vacation, Kyra. You need to accept that already. That doesn't mean the bitch can't cook. Let her cook. She yelled back, amusement obvious on her face and in her tone. People still cook when they're on vacation. Everyone's gotta eat. It's not like I'm some celebrity who can go out for every meal or hire a private chef.
Sorry.
Well, in this house, you're a VIP. Especially after last night, Kyra. Kyra smiled and shook her head quietly. Then she turned to face you once more.
What?
Sorry about that, Hibika. Here I was, trying to strike up a conversation with you and Cliff. Cliff just had to butt in. I don't butt in. I dick in. She eyed him, chuckling in disbelief. He wasn't exactly disapproving. Okay. What? He wasn't exactly disapproving her point with that. Disproving. Yes, I know. You boop me with such love. Hold on. Let me check something real quick. I check thing real quick. I check thing. Okay. Kyra leaned over to whisper to you. It's okay. He likes to be included. But since Clifford insisted on cooking all by himself, he'll just have to wait. The two of us can chat. Her next question continued to be said in a hushed tone, just to be safe. So, how are you doing? I'm good. Kyra didn't seem too convinced by your awkward phrasing, but she nodded anyway and was wondering why you were a black and white cat spinning in the air. She opened her mouth to say something more, but some lightly pounding footsteps caught your attention. You checked to see Cove emerge from the hall a few moments later. He might have heard all the commotion and left his room to see what was going on. He quickly took stock of the situation. His cheeks tinted pink at the sight of you standing in his living room, and his hand came up to rub his arm almost bashfully. Hibika, you made it! Thanks for coming. Oh, I'm not coming yet, baby boy. Cove's voice was unnaturally loud, as if he thought you wouldn't be able to hear him from where you were, only a few feet away. Hi, Cove. You doing okay? Yeah, I'm fine. He didn't sound convincing at all. Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Is more like it. You narrowed your eyes, sus, but didn't call him out on it. If you could talk to him alone tonight, maybe you'd ask him what was going on then. It was when you glanced away from Cove that you spotted his parents, watching the two of you interact. Cove noticed their stares too, meeting them with narrowed eyes. So, are we having dinner now? Not yet, bud. Still cooking. Alright, I'm gonna go back in my room. As he turned to leave, he bent his head to the side to face you. You coming? We're gonna see his room, chat. Oh my god. We're climbing the steps of this relationship fast. The question was quiet, but you heard it clearly. You smiled, pleased that he asked, and nodded in the affirmative. Cove turned fully and made his way down the hall. Have fun, you two. We'll call you when food's ready to go. With that, you followed after Cove. The two of you made your way down the hall. Let's see. No, I wouldn't say it was standard. This was... Actually, yes. Let's have this. This was the first time. Cove got to the door first, opening it and stepping inside. You joined him. Oh, I had one of these! These are cool. These are awesome. There was a mat on the floor in front of the door. As you stepped over the threshold to his room, you felt the crunch of sand beneath your feet. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. You glanced down. Sand was clustered around the entrance. You even spotted smaller amounts of it dusting the rest of the room's floor. Though you hadn't anticipated it, you weren't as surprised at the sight. Of course, Beach Boy Cove Holden would get his room all sandy. What do you mean, no? What are we saying no to, chat? So this is my room. That's sent by itself. Ooh-woo. Not the ooh-woo to cover it. Cove was a bit shy as he said so, fidgeting with the hem of his shirt, using one hand and vaguely gesturing to the space with the other. There's stuff you can sit on. There's stuff I can sit on if I want. You mean I can sit on anything in this room? Even the fish tank? Even you, Cove? Your stuff, aren't ya? You looked over at the desk chair as an option. There's stuff I can sit on. I was already sitting on the edge of his large bed. Are you trying to make your own beach with all this sand? Thanks for letting me come over.
Not really.
No! Even he told me no. I'm not gonna get the sex. There's no sex in this game. That's why I'm able to play it on Twitch. I think with the DLC though. I think with the DLC you can do that, maybe. But no, there's no sex. I play wholesome novels. Oh my god. Guys, not the fucking crying she's in the corner just zooming by. I'm fucking dead. I'm fucking dead. But it'd be cool if I could though. Couldn't help recalling a long time ago, Cove explaining that his childhood dream home would be something located right on the shore of this beach. Maybe that idle thought still held an appeal for him. It made you smile to think about it. Let's see, I said, let's sit next to Cove. I said, if you're, no segs. No segs. No segs, Nebby. You horn dog. As soon as you sat next to him, Cove grew tense. His back went stiff, and he ducked his head away. That wasn't the only thing that was stiff, as he tried to hide it in his baggy pants. He tried to hide a trembling smile and a raging erection.
Oh my god.
Not breathlessly saying, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh! Oh! Ah! She's on my bed! Ah! A girl on my bed! Oh! Oh my god! A girl on my bed! Oh god!" Oh my god, I'm so hard. I can't contain my raging boner. Oh my god, it's busting out of the zipper. Oh my god, it's unzipping itself. Oh god, it's huge. Oh fuck! He said it under his breath, as if he didn't want you to hear. You obviously did, and easily, since you were right beside him. Let's see, felt very charmed by his reaction. He raised his eyebrows. You both kept noticing the other's every move. Let's see. You're like an open book. You're adorable. You're so cute. You're so cute with your fat boner in your jeans, and you're so cute with your little blushy cheeks, and you're so cute, Cove. You're adorable. What? Clearly he had an expected compliment. Somehow his flush grew worse, spreading all the way down to his neck. He fumbled for words. He gripped the blanket underneath him and searched for something more to say. Did you see my fish? What a segue. Did you see my fish? I've got some in a tank. Right there. Cove threw both of his hands in front of him to direct your eyes toward his pets. He was trying pretty poorly to change the topic. That much was clear. He decided to show him mercy and allow it. He calls it his fish? You started to watch the bright fish swim. There were a bunch of them, floating to and fro in the open space. They stood out starkly against the green aquarium plants. How long have you had those fish?
Yes.
My dad bought them for me not long after I moved here. I guess it's been years now. Wow, that's a long time. You peered carefully into the tank. The fish looked to be doing well. You must take very good care of them. Most of them were small, but there was one especially big one. What are their names? I don't name them. Well, not really. You lifted an eyebrow at that. You continued the explanation sheepishly. I just call them things based on what they look like. Squirt for a small one, tangerine for a really orange one, that sort of thing. I've had a lot of fish and I'm not very good at coming up with names. That's such a guy thing. You're orange, so I'm gonna name you Tangerine. You're purple, your name is Grape. You found that funny. You found that surprising. You found that relatable. You didn't have any pets, but you always had trouble naming your stuffed animals, or what? I have trouble naming cats at the shelter. That's why I always go for like video game names or like naming conventions and games. Like the tactics names. I just go to the tactics wiki, look up a name, scroll really fast back, and then land on a name. And that's that cat's name. One of my favorite cats is named Melora. Melora is a Vieira name from Tactics. Oh, a couple of them have other types of names. He pointed to a small orangish red fish. was minding its own business away from the others. My dad named a dreamcatcher, and that one's Mark. Mark! Mom came up with that one. Cove smiled to himself, his eyes reflecting the glow from the tank. You let other people name your fish?
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice. He then turned to you, tilting his head to one side. There was a considering look on his face. Do you want to name one? Yeah, I do. His smile grew a little at your enthusiasm. Cool. There's a few who didn't have names right now, the newer ones. You can pick which one you want to name. He pointed each of the recent acquisitions to you. The first was the smallest fish in the tank. It was completely orange and zipped all over the place, running laps around the corners. The second was slightly bigger and red. Its tail was dotted with black spots, which almost seemed like black freckles. Ooh! The last fish was the biggest one. Its multicolored scales rippled under the bright light of the tank as it slowly made its way across the vast expanse. You went with? I want the freckles! The freckle fish. Cove only nodded at your answer, waiting on you to decide a suitable name. You watched the fish you chose closely. As you did, the name came to you. Oh my god, I can type in my own answer! Yes! 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 Okay, your name is going to be, let's see, I can't name it simply Freckles. Let's see, he said it was, like, pretty quick and, like, darty, right? So, you know what? I have the perfect name for you. Your name is gonna be Dick Tickler. Can I name it that? Ah! Yes! I can't believe I can name it Dick Tickler. Alright, it's Dick Tickler. With that, his attention moved from you to the tank. He peered fondly at it and its inhabitants. You probably... Oh god, I have to read it now! You smiled proudly at Dick Tickler as it's... I can't do this. You smiled proudly at Dick Tickler as it swam through the tendrils of plants, disappearing and reappearing soon after. You noticed that Cove was sitting closer to you than he was before. He must have scooted over at some point during the conversation. This close, your shoulders are almost brushing against each other. Your heartbeat picked up a little at the realization. You know, I'm not even allowed to have pets in my house. Not even fish. The corners of Cove's lips turned down at that. That doesn't sound fair. It's not like fish would make a mess of your house or anything. You just gotta take care of their tank and feed them, and they'll be okay. I mean, I feel like at least fish, or even like a hamster. They trust Elizabeth and me to go around the neighborhood alone, but they won't let us have a pet? It doesn't make sense. Maybe when you're even older, they'll let you. I don't know, they seem pretty against it. Your current conversation brought to mind a memory from years ago. You launched into it without any warning, earning you a brief, confused look from Cove. One time, Elizabeth, came back from playing at the beach and shut herself in her room. She only came down for food, and then she ran straight back up. It was kind of weird, and my mom didn't think much of it at first. But then, that night, Ma went to her room to say goodnight and started screaming. Mom and I ran over to see what happened. Lizzie had this huge lizard in her arms. Cove's eyebrows rose at that, and he leaned forward in interest.
Really?
A lizard? Where'd that come from? Elizabeth said she saw it half buried in the sand. Didn't know what it was, then she pulled it out and got the answer, so she brought it home. She hid the lizard in her room for most of the day because she wanted to keep it. Mom and Ma were not happy. They worried about putting it out during the night, but she was gonna have to let it go in the morning. Lizzie wasn't really upset. She did bring it back to the beach eventually, but she wouldn't talk to anyone for days. When she did get over it, it was almost like it never happened. You laughed, thinking back to that time. Elizabeth had always been stubborn, but when she was younger, she forgot grudges quickly. No, it wasn't so easy. Cove had been quiet for most of the story. Apart from the reveal of the lizard, he had a thoughtful look on his face. I can't imagine what it would have been like to have a sibling. You gave a serious thought to his statement before you told him, There's a nice idea. There are ups and downs to having siblings. It's fun to have her there when she wants to be there, but now Elizabeth barely feels like hanging out with me. Cove pursed his lips at the words, considering them quietly for a while. That's interesting. I think your family's cool. He didn't have much else to say, though, while on topic of your family. You considered your relationship with your moms, too. Let's see. They were absolutely the best. Yeah, I like them. I like my moms. I like my mommies. You can even consider having another option. You can even have better parents. Well, say what you want about them, but at least your mom's never tried to pay someone to be your friend. Oh! Oh, man! Sick burn on Cove's dad. The thought prompted you to look over at Cove. Probably still didn't know that happened. And he's never going to know. Because that's not what happened. You doubted that Mr. Holden mentioned it, and you never had. You wondered if you should tell him. It was a long time ago, but you were keeping a secret from Cove. I don't know. Should we tell him, chat? Should we just tell him? Should we just say out with it? Maybe we should just say out with it and be done with it. Must never tell Cove about the 8 million cheese stalks. That's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about telling Cove that his dad tried to sell him off to me. Let's see. Didn't tell him. You decided to tell him. Well, I don't think it's gonna damage our relationship. Let's tell him. You took a deep, steadying breath to prepare yourself for the conversation. I mean, we're in his room. We're in his space. So he's bound to feel maybe a little safer. You know, he's probably gonna feel some way about his dad, but I mean, man, since when have I given a shit about his dad? Hey, hey, do you wanna know something crazy? I love crazy. Breaks in the song. Cove, I have something important to tell you. Cove's head cocked to the side at your serious tone. He turned to give you his full attention. What is it? You stared into his bright ocean eyes. Tell him the truth. This happened back when you moved here. It was the first time I met your dad. There's not any other way to say it, so he offered me $20 to be friends with you. This sounds so stupid now. But at the same time, the game is like you're keeping a secret from him. Oh man, how are you gonna be his partner if you're keeping secrets? What a way to start a relationship. Ooh. Taunting me, chat. Cove sat still, uncharacteristically. There was an unreadable expression on his face. His eyes seemed to look through you, and you didn't know what to do next. He's gonna go, no, anything but soft. Keep that cock hard for me, Cove. Keep that cock hard for me. Then without saying a word, he bolted out of the... No! For a moment, you didn't move a muscle. You were in shock. This was... Oh no. Your senses quickly came back. You shout up. You shout. You hope no one can hear me? No one can hear me. This room is like deep space. No one can hear me. Cove! There was no response to your call. You could see Cove down the way. He had already sprinted back to the living room. His arms were stuck at his sides. I mean, yeah, confront your dad. Be like, Dad, why the fuck would you pay the kid down the street $20 to spend time with me? Do you really think I'm that unlikable? That would make me feel like shit. His arms are stuck at his side, with his hands slightly balled into fists. He might not have been facing you, but you didn't need to see his face to know how he felt. Cove was furious. His parents were nearly finished setting the table. They greeted him, none the wiser about what was about to happen.
Huh?
Hey, what's up? When did you start running in the house? Are you that famished? You're able to catch up in full and stand near Cove. The parents' words didn't even register in their ears. Their child was wholly focused on another matter. He was practically shaking. Cove took one more step forward and glared up at his father's face. You paid Hibika to be friends with me? Mr. Holden froze. He looked like a helpless deer caught in the headlights.
Seriously?
Clifford? Are you serious? He whipped his head toward Kyra, his eyes wide, blinking rapidly. It was only one time! That's enough! That's enough, Cove's dad! That's enough! The admission elicited an aghast expression from his ex-wife. Mr. Holden raised his hands up to gesture defensively. It seemed like a good idea when it happened. Oh god. Oh, this is around the time where I need like a fucking soundboard or something. Like a fucking gasp or something. Okay. Okay. They're fixed. Why is the encoding overloaded for a dating sim? Seemed like a good idea when it happened. What do you mean when it happened? Is this what you always... I wonder if this is what he always did with kids whenever they, like, move somewhere. She covered her eyes with one hand. It was clear her patience was frayed, but she wasn't so shocked anymore. Mr. Holden bowed his head, rubbing the back of his neck guiltily. The fact that she accepted this as something he'd do so easily seemed to be the most crushing part. Cove just stood there, fuming silently, during their little aside. His eyes furrowed painfully and his eyes trembled. He felt so bad for Cove. I would feel bad for Cove. He was taking it worse than you had ever imagined. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, but must have only been minutes, I can't fucking read. The tense silence was broken by Cove. I don't want to stay here. That immediately caught his parents' attention. They turned to him with twin expressions of worry. Hey, wait a minute, bud. You don't have to do that.
It's alright.
There's still your room. We'll stay out of your way. I promise. Where could you go at this time of day? It's almost night.
No.
I can stay with Hibika. He stormed out of the house without waiting for another response. He's just in my room when I get home. He jumped as the door slammed closed behind him. I'm just gonna follow him. You didn't even take time to say something to his stunned parents. You ran after Cove, shutting the door more softly behind you as you left. You spotted him easily. Cove hadn't made it far. He had just reached the middle of the road. Let's do that. You had already said enough. You walked a couple paces behind him, silent. Cove stomped forward, going across the street without hesitance toward your house. It didn't take long to approach the front door. You'd left it unlocked, so he yanked it out. He's just going into my house. He's just like, well, I live here now. By then, night fully came. The two of you stood tensely together in the middle of your living room. The night really hadn't gone as you had imagined it would. At least Elizabeth wasn't around, and your moms were out. Oh, so we're home alone. You had no idea how you could have explained the situation to them. And you were sure Cove wouldn't have been up for that. He watched you from a distance. His expression wasn't hostile, but it was not exactly welcoming either. Do you really want to be doing this? What do you want to do now? Cove shifted so his back was to you, then he crossed his arms over. No! Cove! Are you mad at me? To your surprise, he actually responded. What? No.
It's okay.
I wish I'd known before, but I guess there's never really a good time to bring up something like that. Oh my god, he's an understanding man. Take me now. You're not the one who did anything. His tone was clipped and insulting, though it was now fully clear that none of the negativity was toward you. Oh, thank God. And we're actually friends, aren't we? It doesn't matter if you took it or not. You wouldn't pretend for years just because of Dad's money. You nodded your head furiously at that. And if there was one thing you didn't want this revelation to do, it was weaken your relationship. Of course we're friends. Who am I gonna eat ice cream with? Poe seemed to appreciate your reassurance. The fur on his brow eased a little. Yeah, we are. I'm definitely not mad at you. I should thank you for not letting it get to you, and for telling me it happened. My dad would have never. He's always like that. He just does things. He doesn't ask, or tell me about it, or anything. Cove threw his arms out, his features twisted in frustration. There already was the thing about my mom coming to stay with us for the summer out of nowhere, and that was supposed to be a surprise I find out about. Who knows what other things he's done that I've never heard of? Does he even know how to think about what someone else might actually want? He paused to take a panting breath, scowling. Let's see. You're right, that's terrible. Let's see. That is pretty terrible. Let's continue to listen. Uninterrupted by you, Combe went on with the spiel. The worst part is, I know he doesn't do stuff for himself. He does things because he wants to make people happy. Cove blinked rapidly, and you noticed tears were gathering in his eyes. When he spoke again, his voice was heavy with emotion. But he just makes everything worse. And he's really sorry. It's like it's your fault for not being happy that he was at least trying. And what if all his plans and always being so pushy did change things? What things? Cove finally met your gaze, his bottom lip trembling. You realized then that he was referring to you and him. What if what he did made you stay away from me, before we even got to know each other? His voice cracked as he forced himself to speak through tears that began to fall in earnest. He did everything he could to say it, but the words were barely a whisper. Because you were the best thing about coming here. Cove was honestly terrified over the idea that there was a chance the two of you might not have what you do. Hug! 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 Cove readily accepted the embrace. He wrapped his arms around you in return. The grip was firm. Let's see. I'm gonna do this one. No one can mess it up. I'm your friend because I wanted to be your friend, silly. His features crumpled at your words. More tears threatened to fall down his cheek, but he stubbornly blinked them away. He remained like that for just a little while. Then he scrubbed his eyes with the back of one hand. His gaze turned away from you, growing distant. He's like that with my mom, too. The anger had begun to release, bubbled back to the surface. Dad wants to make people happy, but he doesn't. The words landed scathingly hard. You were certain it crushed Mr. Holden if he heard that. You'd never know much about his parents' relationship, but you thought you understood a bit better now. Let's see, you felt bad that things were so hard for Cove and his dad. Let's see, Blitting. Hey, Lovey. Cove just looked at the ground. As the two of you were stifled by the quiet, a thought came to your mind, abrupt and sudden. What about your fish? I remember that day when it happened. What about your fish? You couldn't forget earlier that night, the way Cove spoke about them, how he watched them, how he cared for them. That was something special your dad did for you. It's been really important to you for a long time, right? He can make you happy. Cove's eyes opened a little wider. A fragile smile tugged ever so slightly at his lips. It was obvious Cove didn't want to think about his dad that way, but it was also hard not to right now. He must be conflicted over where to go from here. Might need to feel better than you do. You tried making up for your dad. Let's see. Your dad needs to stop being so forceful, though. Cove frowned thoughtfully. He didn't say anything, but you had a feeling he was taking what you said into consideration. I'm going back home. His face was set in determination. The deal, too. Ooh. There was no way you could tell him to do anything else, even if you wanted to, so he only nodded.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Hibika. I'm sorry about all this. What? Can I come with you? Yeah. Why wouldn't you go? You smiled lightly. Just checking. Cove nodded and headed outside. You followed behind him. Once again, the two of you made your way across the street, towards his house. He didn't pause at the door, he just opened it wide and went in. Cove's parents were sitting at the table, their heads bowed and silence between them. They snapped over at the sound of the door, relieved to see Cove return. Mr. Holden stood up so suddenly in his chair, it squealed across the floor.
Cove?
Cove? Kyra got out of her chair as well, but less dramatically. How are you feeling, baby? I wanted to talk to you. His parents looked over at him, their features soft. Cove instead snuck a glance at you. You stared back solidly, hoping you could convey your support with your eyes. It must have worked, because Cove stood up a bit straighter. Cove then fully faced his parents. Mr. Holden stepped forward cautiously, his expression twisting in dismay. I'm so sorry. I should have never done something so stupid. It's okay. It really isn't. That was a bonehead move, if there ever was one. I was bribing an actual child, one I had never even met before that day. Cove almost cracked a smile, though he quickly regained his composure. Then it isn't. But I want things to be okay anyway.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Cove. Kyra placed a hand on Mr. Holden's shoulder. Your dad doesn't believe there's something wrong with you, or that you can't make your own friends. He can explain. I know why Dad did it. He wanted me to be happy, that's all. He didn't think it would be like this. It was an accident. Kyra sighed heavily. A sad smile appeared on her lips. You're very grown up, Cove. Mr. Holden brought his hands up against his forehead and began to pace around the room. He didn't seem to know what to do with himself. He turned back around to face Cove and Kyra. He looked more solemn than you'd ever seen him. I'm not going to do it again. I haven't done it again. Haven't tried to bribe more people, or haven't continued to step over a line without registering it. Both. He let out a heavy breath before shrinking down a little. It was impressive, because he was pretty tall.
I'm trying.
I don't know, but I don't think so. Cove's throat bobbed as he swallowed thickly. He looked like he was trying to gather all of his courage. When he spoke up, his voice was small but firm. You invited Mom here. His dad's eyes widened. Cove was ready to have a talk. Cove was ready to have a talk he had put off before. You didn't ask me if I wanted things to be like this, with the both of you together again for just a little while. Mr. Holden's hands slowly returned to his forehead. He was stunned, as if someone just hit him. I did it again. I did it again, and I didn't even notice. What's wrong with me? Why can't I just do something right? At least Cove seemed more relieved that he was able to say what he felt. You knew just how long he'd been holding that in. It was quiet for a long stretch. Mr. Holden had sat down in a chair. His shoulders drooped and his head in his hands. He looked at Cove. He watched his dad, and how genuinely he was struggling with what he had been told. Cove glanced down at the ground, then looked back to his dad. I'm not angry anymore. Slowly, Mr. Holden met his son's eyes. I can try to talk to you about things and what I feel about stuff. I stopped saying that to you since everything happened. I didn't want to talk to you, but you won't have to guess if you know. Mr. Holden broke eye contact at that, shaking his head. My son, my child, shouldn't have to take care of me. You shouldn't have to make up for my shortcomings, Cove. I can boop things. I can still change. Thank you, Singer, for the boop. After having something of an outburst, Mr. Holden turned his face away and spoke more guardedly. Besides, I'm used to that already. I might not get it right, but not a damn thing would happen. And what's left of this family, if I wasn't making the effort, it's always me. What's one more thing to manage? Dad.
I see.
You're right, Cliff. I know. But I don't think Cove wants to take care of you. He just wants to understand. And he wants his dad to understand too. That's what matters, isn't it? It was still as Mr. Holden digested what Kyra said. He stared down at his empty hands, held out in front of him. When he looked at Cove again, tiny tears glimmered in the corners of his eyes. He got up and crossed the room to his son. Cove didn't move or look away as he approached. Mr. Holden set his hands on Cove's shoulders, the touch firm. He furrowed his brows. Bud, you and I are going to talk about every single thought that ever pops into our heads, like real men. For the rest of your life. He shook Cove forward and back a bit. Tears slipped down Cove's cheeks, but he was smiling. No, I don't want that. Mr. Holden began to smile too. It trembled at the corners, but it was genuine. I'm afraid it's the only way. Kyra chuckled, even as she blinked away her own tears. Mr. Holden turned toward her. You better not be thinking you can get away from this, Kyra. The same's gonna apply to you. You can't! He let go of Cove with one hand and he placed his other arm around Cove's shoulders. Then he faced Kyra. Oh, yes, I can. He continued the talk as he walked in her direction, bringing Cove along with him. Then father and son were standing in front of her. Mr. Holden put his other arm around her. Now he had both of them in his arms. Not Cove blinking awkwardly. If you think the ideas that I actually go with are bad, you two are gonna be amazed by the thoughts I decide against all my own. Kyra jokingly cringed at the concept. Cove smiled tearfully up at his parents. Thanks, Dad.
I'm so glad.
Thank you, son. But hey, you know what I'm thinking now? Cove, wiping his face with the back of his hand, shook his head. God, no. You're an incomprehensible maniac. Mr. Holden laughed, not disputing her words. I'm thinking we should eat that dinner. I painstakingly made. It's salvageable. Just gotta heat it back up. Kyra sighed in an exaggerated relief.
Can do.
That we can manage. Right, Cove? Yeah. Great. We're making progress already.
Well,
Though, I don't even know how I'm gonna start making this up to Hibika. Carrying that secret for all this time must have been quite the burden to bear. Plus, she didn't actually get any money out of the deal. She didn't take the 20. I'm not mad about it or anything. It was a hard time for your family. Either way, I or we will work on it. Okay. Cove ducked his head and spoke towards you. There was a tiny smile on his face. Do you want to stay for dinner still? I'd love to. Mr. Holden finally let go of his family. Kyra patted him on the back with a content sigh. You're very good boys. I'm so lucky. Cove shyly rubbed his arm, while Mr. Holden nervously rubbed his neck. Neither could make eye contact out of bashfulness in that moment. They really did seem like father and son. Cove's family was nice, you thought to yourself. You were glad that you got to come over. And with that, we ended dinner. Let's do the woe twip.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my fuck! Thank you. Thank you so much for the bit, Smelly. Oh, Jesus. Oh my god. And we hit the bit goal? Wow. Wow. Thank you. Bit jump scare, yes. I love the jump scares. It's because they happen so rarely. Man, I love that sound. I think that's also the sound for my raid as well, because I love it so much. You had them and you didn't want them anymore. You didn't like looking at the numbers. Well, I'm happy to take those numbers. Thank you, Smelly. I appreciate you. Smelly is like my bestest Pookie. In fact, all my Pookies actually I think are best Pookies. Especially Kreyas, who bought me cookout today. I had chicken tendies for lunch. Even though you were awake, the sun had barely peeked its head above the horizon, and the sky above was still dark, though lightning by the minute. Yeah, Chris also bought Smelly cookout as well. We both had chicken tendies. I love chicken tendies. Usually, you wouldn't be up so early, but today was different. Today, instead of lazy days you were used to, everything around you was a flurry of activity as both your family and Coves prepared for what lay ahead. Because parked in the street, outside your house, was a massive RV camper, so big you couldn't even see Cove's house behind it. His parents had rented the RV for a few days to take him on a short road trip to see the Redwood National Park. Ooh, that's one national park I've been wanting to see, actually. You glanced at Cove, who was standing nearby taking in the scene from in front of him. The prospect of the trip had to be a mixed bag for him, but it was only 3 days, so seemed like dealing with it. He was dealing with it as best he could. Here, hold on. I'm gonna fix something real quick. Just a moment. I can still talk and chat, but I'm going to fix something real quick. Let me see. There we go. Okay, you guys can now gasp at things. Let's see. And then now... And I made them super cheap, too. Actually, no. I'll change it later. It's like 100. I think that's cheap. Not sure. But yeah, you guys should be able to do that now, I think. Pretty sure. Yeah, you guys can now all. Aww. That stupid little thing pops up at the corner of the screen, but that's okay. But that's alright, I'm cool with that. But you guys can also gasp, too. Give it a minute. Give it a hot minute. Give it 2 hot minutes. 3 hot minutes. I forgot to hit submit. Oh god. I love streaming so much because of this shit. I love it so much. I love it so much. It's great. It's great. First, I will make this 50. I will make that 50. And I will make the gasp also 50. So that anybody who comes in can now do it. Can now do it, yes. Let's see. How do I turn, I gotta... I'm sorry, what the fuck? I'm sorry, what the fuck is going on? Okay. You know what, I will deal with flower in corner of screen. That is okay. That is okay with me. You know what? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, so now you guys can awe, and you guys can gasp. I haven't found a good laugh track yet that I like, though. I'll look for one later. But you guys can do that now. I thought that would be pretty fun, actually. So yeah, let me make sure that they work. So here's the little gasp. Yep, that changed to 50. And the aw, which also changed to 50. They're so corny. I love corny shit. I love it so much. Alrighty. Especially now that you and your family were joining them. You weren't sure how exactly it happened. You knew your parents and Cope spoke to each other often, and somewhere along the way, plans were made after Cliff offered to share the space. The parents all thought it was a fantastic idea. You had already gotten a good look inside while hoping to load everything in, and you had to admit that while it was a really big car, fitting that many people inside was going to be snug.
Let's go.
Move it or lose it, kiddo. Mom bustled past with a cooler in one hand and a large bottle of water under the other. She was upbeat for this early in the morning. Aww. She's so cute and sleepy. Ma, however, seemed to be on the other side of the wavelength. She followed behind her wife, dragging her feet on every step. I'm gonna need a whole jug of coffee once we hit the road. See, you could relate to Ma personally. You were raring to go. Yeah, I'm a morning person. I've always been a morning person, a morning girl. I love Shrek the Musical. Oh god, chat. We should all watch Shrek the Musical together. You know, remember when I put out that, I put out an announcement that I'm now making Thursdays rest days. But I actually have an idea, and I'll put this in an announcement so that people can actually see this. But I was planning on making that a movie night. Like, a little movie night that starts, you know, early, around the same time, maybe like 7 or 8 o'clock. You know, and I'll stream something in the Discord and we can all watch it together. I think that would be fun. Let's see, the air was still a little damp from dew, but you didn't mind it. Oh, I love that feeling. And then at the end of the chain came your sister. She had a bone to pick before the trip actually started. Her rattling off critiques added some level of normalcy to everything new going on. I don't get why I can't sleep in the bed tonight. Hibika's the youngest, and I never fall asleep in that loft. We're trying to make things fair on everyone. If you want to play the older card, you should be offering to take the loft both nights. It's important for big siblings to make sacrifices for their younger ones. Elizabeth huffed, not happy with that answer in the slightest, and folded her arms, leaning back against the side of the RV. The trip plans had been nailed down prior. The sleeping arrangements included. Elizabeth still held on to her objections with them. There was a main area of the RV with a couch, loft, and some floor space. At the end of the car was a room with a large bed. Your moms were sharing the bed, Kyra was on the couch, and father and son intended to sleep on the floor. The adults determined you and Elizabeth would switch between the small loft above the driver's seat and sharing the bed with moms. You're fine about the arrangement. You were excited to sleep in the loft. Honestly, that's pretty cool. I like the loft. I like the loft. Yes, I like the loft. It would be a new experience for you and sounded kind of cool. Alright, you lot. Does everyone have everything they need? We're headed out in 5 minutes. Now's the time to double check. You don't want to forget something important. At the word, Elizabeth yelped and dashed back into the house, her bedhead hair bouncing behind her as she went. Ma came over and gave you a smile, setting her hands on her hips. How about you, Hibika? Do you have all of your clothes packed? Toiletries, deodorant, floss, anything you can think of? Let's see, Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Wanting to make sure everything was organized and ready to go, you had packed the night before, and set your alarm, too. Yep, I'm good. That's great. We'll have to wait for the ones who weren't as organized, but we'll be heading off shortly. With a few minutes to spare before leaving, you mentally went over what you had packed for the trip. Clothes, a pillow, and a blanket. Usual day-to-day gear for most people. You also had more personal things, such as... Let's see. Oh, portable gaming console, pencils and paper, favorite stuffed animal. Oh, man. Yes, this. Music. I need music on trips. With so much time going to be spent driving in a car, you wanted to make sure you'd be able to have some music to put on. Whoops. Let's see. Pencils and paper. Pencils and paper. You had to be to sketch. Yep. Gaming console. The drive to the Redwood National Park would make for an entire day one way, so you wanted to make sure you had a way to entertain yourself while traveling there and back. Maybe not a bag of makeup. Camera. It was just a pocket camera you had gotten from your mom's, but you couldn't miss the opportunity to take some new snaps. And that was everything. Hey, let me take that for you, Hibika. I'll stow it in the RV. There's a few spots left, it'll fit. You let Kyra take your bag and gave her a grateful smile. With nothing left to do, you watched as the others were getting ready for the trip. Kyra and Cliff seemed to have the most energy of everyone. They were finishing packing the suitcases away while your moms had gone to lock up the house. They high-fived whenever Another one got cramped into the storage compartments of the vehicle. Even though your own parents were more low-key than Cove's, you could tell they were both excited for the trip. It had been a while since your family had been away anywhere together. Elizabeth skipped toward the RV, a bag slung over her shoulder, and you were surprised to see she seemed more optimistic about the whole ordeal. Usually, she wasn't one to exit the confines of her home, unless it was for TV or food, or to leave her family behind to be with friends. You would have thought 3 whole days packed in an RV with 6 others would be too much for her, but it was a nice surprise. You suppose any vacation was better than no vacation in her mind. Cove had been pretty quiet so far, and, more than anything, seemed to be overwhelmed by the situation. Yeah, I'm excited. I like road trips. It was great to get away and explore new places. Soon the miscellaneous remaining tasks had been all wrapped up. Everyone piled into the RV. It was officially time for the trip to start. And it did. Cliff took the first shift driving. He cautiously navigated the massive car out of the narrow neighborhood streets. It was nice. It was touch and go for the first part of the journey. Your moms and Kyra were all huddled at the front, trying to get a view of how much space they had on each side. There was a sense of relief when the first long leg of the trip was hit, and the RV would only need to go down one stretch of highway for miles. The mom group cleared out of the driver's area, leaving Cove's dad to it, taking more comfortable seats around the main cabin. You felt like you could finally relax too. Time slipped by as morning faded away. Before you realized it, the engine of the RV came to a stop, but only halted for a few moments as Cliff climbed out from the driver's seat, and Mom took over. Ma was hitting shotgun, giving Mom a quick tutorial on the controls, as it was her first time driving anything this large. Cliff groaned as he headed toward the rest of you, stretching his arms above his head and loosening up his muscles. We're making good progress. Yeah. Maybe you could take a nap in the back for a while. That was a long haul you just did, and I know you're on less sleep than usual. Cliff waved a hand, that trademark grin of his slipping into place. I don't need sleep. I've still got a few miles in the old tank. He flexed an arm, showing off his muscles to drive the point about how resilient he was home, and Kyra rolled her eyes in amusement. Dad, everyone has to sleep. Cove shook his head at the tough guy act, though Cliff simply chuckled and ruffled his son's hair.
So,
Are you going to be driving again anytime soon, Mr. Holden? I want to know so I can prepare. Did anyone pack some rope? I might need it. There's no seatbelts up here. Elizabeth called down from where she was, lounging in the loft above the driving compartment. She was laying on her back, her hair falling over the side, and swinging around as the RV started up again and took off down the road. A bag of potato chips was balanced on Elizabeth's stomach, and she tossed a couple in her mouth right as Cliff held a hand to his chest, pretending to be offended by the remark. Kyra laughed lightheartedly. Lucky for all of us, we have enough adults to cover the shifts today. He won't be driving again until tomorrow. Let's see, phew, that's a relief. Just enough time to reply for his lost will and testament. Let's see, it's not his driving I'm worried about. Just enough to write my last will and testament, not you too. The rest of the group left while Cliff pouted, and you gave him an apologetic shrug. Mom then shouted back in her seat to join in on the conversation, a playful smile tilting at her lips. What I'm more worried about is this old monster getting us there and back again before falling apart. It looks as though it was built in the early 90s. It must be older than some of the occupants. That's just the aesthetic of the decor. It's not that old. I think. Did you ask what year the model was before you rented it? Kyra wrinkled her nose in thought. Yes, I did. I just can't remember what the answer was. Cliff chuckled at her, while the rest of you let out a collective sigh. The RV lurched a little as it picked up speed, and you held on to the ladder of the loft to keep your balance. You felt something graze the top of your head before a weight settled on your beige hair. When you tilted your chin up, carefully to look, you heard the rustling of a bag of chips and realized Elizabeth had rested the end of it on your head. She gestured to the opening, silently offering to share her snack. Oh my god, she's being nice to me. Took a handful. Reaching up, you scooped up some chips. After that, the weight of the packet left your scalp. You happily munched away as the conversation continued on, and you got closer and closer to your destination. The day flew by with a group of you chatting, playing games, and passing the time together before finally arriving at the park and setting up for the night. Ma was closing the windows while everyone got ready for bed, saying goodnight to the others as she made her way to the back room. You had dinner together while still driving, and some hours after had arrived at your destination and found a spot to park for the rest of your stay. Giving a look across the front of the RV, you noticed almost everyone there was already dozing off where they were, with Cove having completely fallen asleep, curled up in the passenger seat. He must have done so while Kyra was driving the last leg, and they decided not to disturb him. Kyra herself was the only one up there who was still awake, flipping through a magazine next to a portable light from her spot on the couch. It seemed Mr. Holden needed this sleep despite his claims. You followed your moms to the back room and closed the door behind you before crawling into the bed between them. It was a queen-size bed, so there was enough space for the three of you together without too much squishing. Get a good rest, Ibika. We've got a big day ahead of us tomorrow.
That's fantastic.
I'm looking forward to the bushwalk in the morning. It's been a long time since I was out in nature like this. There will be plenty for us to see. You stayed awake for a little while longer, while your moms whispered about the park and forest in general. With the sound of their voices in the background, eventually you nodded off to sleep. The next morning you were up bright and early, preparing for the day ahead. You had slept well. You fell asleep before you knew it, and had woken up rested. Ma whined a bit about the firmness of the mattress, but Mom had only encouraged her to enjoy the trip while she could. While looking for a spot to get ready, you had some trouble finding a space of your own, as the others were doing the same thing. Cove was perched atop of the counter, brushing his hair and tucking up his legs every time someone wanted to move past. The parents were checking, double-checking, and triple-checking that you had everything, to the point where you had stopped listening to them altogether. You knew you wouldn't be returning to the RV at all that day, but by the looks of the backpacks that were packed up and ready to go, you doubted anything was missing from them. Didn't take much longer until you all exited the RV in a bustle and headed into the Redwood National Park. Wow! There's lots of trees! Cove had his head tilted up toward the canopy of trees, his eyes as wide as he took in the massive trunks on either side of you. You knew that the redwood trees here were considered the tallest trees on Earth, but you weren't prepared for exactly how huge they would be in the person.
Come on.
Smile, you two! You spun in time just for Kyra to snap a picture of you and Cove together before she pointed her camera at Cliff, trying to get a shot despite his weak protest that she should just enjoy the moment. Your parents were walking behind the group a little, with Mom telling Ma some information she had read about the park in a brochure. Ma listened happily while looking around and taking in the sights, every now and then asking a question or making a joke about something Mom had said. You smiled at them, thinking your mom must have read a lot of pamphlets to know so much about the park. Maybe you should come and work here as a tour guide, if you know so much about the place. Elizabeth teased, earning a squeeze on the nose from your mom. She seemed to be enjoying herself, but you thought that might just be because she was amused by everyone else's reactions. Let's see. You were in a good mood, you were as impressed as the others. Let's see. I love nature, actually. Surrounding you on either side, the enormous trees shot up into the sky, the sunlight peeking through their canopy and speckling the path in front of you. The sheer size of the redwoods made you feel like a tiny ant bustling through the forest. The adults had decided on some casual nature walks, rather than any serious hiking, and you strolled along at your own pace, taking in the scenery. Elizabeth sped up a little, smirking at Cove as she fell into place between the two of you. And immediately, you could tell by her expression, she was gonna say something taunting. I can't believe our families are actually on vacation together. She threw her arms out, speaking with a genuine sense of bewilderment. I would have joked about something like this happening, but now I'm not sure if I want to give them any more ideas. Cove smiled at her, even if it was a little awkwardly, and continued walking along. Just watch. Next year, they'll be talking about their next new amazing idea. She put on a fake voice deeper than her own. We should just sell both of our houses and move in together. Think of how much we'd save on the mortgage. It was clear that Elizabeth was being sarcastic. Cove simply shook his head, not really bothered by her. You suppose he was just used to it at this point. But seriously, they should really do an act like we're a single family, just because we live across the street from each other. Elizabeth gave you and Cove a look, her eyes glinting with mischief as she leered at you. Maybe one day we will be related. Legally, anyway. She said it as though she was a gossipy old lady. But she almost immediately dropped the tone and nonchalantly said her real thoughts. At least, that's what Ma thinks. Cove still blushed, which made Elizabeth smile triumphantly, as though that was her whole purpose for teasing him. Then he mumbled quietly, refusing to make eye contact with either of you. I don't know why you think you're so funny when no one else does. I'll marry you, Cove! Let's see, let's just ignore her. You said nothing, choosing to let your sister prattle on to her heart's content. You know from years of experience, the best way to annoy Elizabeth was not giving her any attention at all. Are you even listening? Huh? Did you say something? She huffed for you. She huffed at you for that one. The day continued on, with plenty to see and experience. You passed a few different activities that you would have liked to try out if you had the time, such as kayaking and rock climbing, but Ma said that would have to wait for another trip. There was a little stream during the walk that you sat beside and set out a picnic for lunch, nibbling on a selection of fruit, sandwiches, and chips. Various birds flew by overhead, and you made a game out of guessing the species that were hanging out in trees nearby. You even managed to get a couple of them right, including the kingfisher that grabbed half a club sandwich. Let's see. Trip wasn't worth a day. Yeah. It was definitely a good special experience, and one you'd remember for a long time to come. You smiled to yourself, committing the sights and sounds to memory. Your group made it back to camp just as the sun was setting in the sky, and the stars were appearing one by one. Everyone had enjoyed different parts of it. Most. You traded stories of what you thought while you were eating dinner. Then afterwards, you pitched in to help clean up. You, along with Elizabeth and Cove, got to head back to the RV early and spent some time together while the parents stayed outside longer. It was nice to have the space to yourselves after the cramped journey there, and while Elizabeth had locked herself in the back room with her headphones, you and Cove were left in the main lounge area. Let's see. Let's hang out with Cove. We might as well get comfortable. Who knows how long they'll be out for. You took a seat on the sofa while Cove sat down on the other end, tapping his fingers against his knees.
And then I have to drink more water.
Right as soon as I drink water. I was drinking water while you had sent that. That's so great, Lexi. Thank you. Your cheeks warmed a little at that. Being so close to him never failed to feel exciting. You'd seen Cove early every day for the past 5 years, but seeing him in a jacket was still somewhat unusual. In Southern California, he could get away with that. It was a simple difference from his normal style, yet you couldn't help noticing the way he looked right now. It looked great on him. In fact, Cove always looked nice. When Cove cleared his throat, your eyes snapped to his. He had an eyebrow raised and had clearly caught you staring at him. Is everything okay? That looks nice on you. That looks nice on you. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, everything is really good. You smiled knowing to yourself about why you felt that way, while Cove watched on in confusion. You decided to explain part of it. You know, I hardly ever see you wearing a jacket, especially in the summer. Oh, yeah, I like wearing as few layers as possible. It's easier that way. I'd rather be cold than extra hot, and it's kind of a pain to carry an extra clothes around. My parents made me bring this jacket. I love wearing layers. Let's see, I love wearing layers actually because I get cold and hot very easily. So sometimes I can't regulate my temperature properly and I have to wear a jacket with a tank top because then I'll get hot and then I'll take off the jacket wearing the tank top and then I'll get cold and then I have to put the jacket back on because now I'm cold. Ko smiled lightly at you and nodded. I've noticed. You perked up hearing that. He noticed you too? Oh my god, it's Sprungle time! Woo! By Smelly! Isinker has an ally! Let's see. What do you like to see other— Let's change the subject. That conversation had run its course. Instead, you asked Cove about what else he would have liked to do in the park if he had one more time here. The two of you ended up chatting about various outdoor activities available: kayaking, rock climbing, hiking, horseback riding, wildlife walks. There were so many things to potentially choose from. You made an agreement that if one of you ever had the chance to come back, you bring the other two. That way you could try it all together again. The parents all arrived soon after. Yeah, it's road trip! Hello, Kai Shoji. How are you doing tonight? Each of them climbing into the RV, finding some place to sit down and rest their legs. Also, hell yeah, Scrungle. Hell yeah, Doodlebob legs. Elizabeth, having heard the commotion, came out from the room for the first time since arriving and joined you all. You spent the evening chatting and playing a few games, enjoying the last evening of the trip together. Bedtime arrived within the blink of an eye. As the group hunkered down for the night, your mom did a final round to be sure nothing had been left behind. She explained that Cliff was going to start driving early in the morning, like on the first day, but would be letting everyone else in the group sleep. There wouldn't be a need for all of them to get up. Let's see, you forgot you've watched a lot of people, first time reading. Do you often go back and see other things? I mean, it really depends. If I play a visual novel for the first time, I try to see as much as I can and go the route that, I want to go with, while at the same time accepting the consequences because I enjoy playing a visual novel blind and then just seeing where my consequences take me, depending on my actions. But if I really like a visual novel, I will go back and just try other routes, or if I want a specific route, I will just look it up since I played through the whole game before. I wasn't sure if that's what you were asking, but if I didn't answer the question, just let me know. You, as well as everyone else, were confident you had all packed up inside the RV, which meant it was time to get some rest before the journey home tomorrow. Your moms and Elizabeth said goodnight, heading to the back room while you climbed up to the loft. Cove and his family got situated below in the previously set arrangement. You tried to get comfortable as a million thoughts were running through your mind. Yeah, that's it. You were gonna mention something about the— Yeah, I'm gonna be playing as much as I can of the story. I'm not gonna worry about taking too long because obviously I want to enjoy this game to the fullest that I can. Because I honestly don't know when I'll get back to it, because there's already so many games I want to play. It was hard to believe that the trip was practically over, and before you knew it, you'd be back in your own bed at home. Let's see, I enjoyed this mini adventure. It was short, that was for sure, but you got to see and do so much during your time here. All in all, it was a nice break away from home. Oh, it's that big stretch time. Oh, big stretch. Oh god, oh fuck. That felt good though. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check out the DLC at some point. My funds are limited, so I'll definitely have to set some money aside. Whew, alright, that was a really good stretch. I kind of needed that actually. Thank you, Zal. The minutes ticked by silently. It didn't take long for the soft snores of Cliff and Kyra to drift up to you. They were asleep now. Looking down the hall, you noticed Cove laying on his back, his eyes staring straight up at the ceiling. His seafoam hair was spread out on his sleeping bag. He must have felt you watching him, because suddenly his eyes locked on yours. It was difficult to see much in the dim light, but you could make out the crooked smile on his face well enough. You grinned back at him. He made a silly face. Let's grin back. Cove shrugged in his bed while still smiling, or at least you thought he did. Oh, we can gesture for him to come over? You then decided to have fun quietly? What does that mean? Come over. Cove looked unsure about it, but you were happy to see him slowly start to sit up anyway. His sleeping bag rustled as he moved, though he tried to go slow and froze up like a deer in the headlights every time he made a sound, watching his parents for any sign of movement. Eventually, he managed to maneuver around his sleeping dad and make it to the ladder, standing on top of the bottom rung where he looked up at you and whispered, "What? What do you want?" Oh, it was nothing. Oh, can he just sit up in the loft with us? Do you want to come up? His eyes widened just so you could only tell because he had come to where you were. Cove glanced behind him and quickly at his sleeping parents before turning back to you. Okay. Wow, that easy, huh? You broke out into a grin and scooched back as far as you could, making space for Cove to crawl in. He was very tall, so it wasn't a great fit for him, but he managed to squeeze himself in. Luckily, you were short enough to leave him with some room. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god, not the sultry stare. Don't do this to my heart. Don't do it to me. Don't do it to me. Oh my god. No. Don't do this to me. Stop it. God damn it, Cove, you're making me, like men again. Stop. I already like men, but damn. You lay down in bed. You lay down next to each other on your sides, face to face. He got under the blanket a bit. He's like under the blanket with you. Is he on a separate part of the bed? One of the strongest unlockable images in the game. Oh my god, you're right though. It's so strong. It's so strong. Oh my god. Oh boy. One of his arms was nestled under his head for comfort. The other had nowhere to go, and when first hot childhood friend. The other hand had nowhere to go and was rested alongside his chest on the floor of the loft. Cove spoke to you softly. So, what am I doing here? Oh god. You can sleep here instead of the floor. Cove raised an eyebrow, not having expected you to bring that up now. I'm not sure about this. Our parents are gonna fucking kill us. Cove swallowed loudly, and you noticed he wouldn't look you in the eyes anymore. His reaction made you happy. Struggle time's over. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm feeling nervous too, that's for sure. I'm feeling something. Whew. Oh, thank you for the head pats, Miss Valentine. How are you tonight? Have you been lurking? The two of you had gotten really close over the years, but this was a different kind of close. You couldn't fully explain how you were feeling, but you wanted to continue getting closer to Cove. You thought back on the trip and the little moments you gotten to spend together with Cove. It felt like this trip definitely had brought you together even more, and not just physically in the same space. Oh, thank you for the boobles. I'm gonna touch him. I'm gonna touch him, Chad. I'm gonna touch him. I'm gonna touch this man. You laid your fingers on Cove's arm, feeling the warmth of the skin beneath them. Cove's face flushed dark enough to notice, even in the almost pitch-black RV cabin. The hand resting in front of him tightened, balling into a fist. You okay? I'm fine. I mean, I'm not dying or anything. Well, I hope not, because I am. I feel like my heart's about to burst. Cove's eyebrows bent up nervously, but his smile widened. He curled himself deeper into the loft and closer to you. He looked away as he did it. There was almost no space left between he and you. Cove's breath tickled the side of your face. For a moment you stayed together like that. Neither of you spoke a word, but when your eyes locked again, Cove seemed almost taken aback by the situation. As though it hadn't completely hit him what it was going to feel like to do this until just now. He opened his mouth to say something, but shut it tight before anything came out. Oh my god! Where is Cove's hot mom? Asleep. She's asleep right now. That's where she is. That's where she's gonna stay while I have my moment. With this adorable... Oh my god. Should I do it? Should I lean in for the kiss or should I snuggle? Should I do a snuggle or a kiss? Well, I don't know. But yeah, I kind of wish that Cove's hot mom was here instead. That would be nice. But we're with Cove right now, and we're also underage, so that's also illegal right now. That's why it feels kind of awkward with the side characters being so hot. Because I'm 13 right now, and I'm thirsting after maybe a 30-year-old man or woman right now. I don't think I feel 13 going on 30. Oh god. I don't know if I want to snuggle or if I want to, seal the deal here. Oh, you know what? Oh god. I'm just gonna do it. Is he gonna let me, though? Is he gonna let me? You moved in even closer, eyes half closed as your lips inched closer to his so slowly. Cove froze immediately. You could feel his body trembling against you as you neared. Oh god. Oh god. No! Why not? Why not? Why not? Oh my god. Then all at once he bolted upright, completely forgetting the restrictions of the location, smacking his head against the roof of the RV with a loud crack, making you gasp aloud. Ow! Cove, you okay? Cove didn't answer. He fell back to the loft floor in a flustered pile. He pressed one hand against his head, and the other over his face as he groaned in pain. The sound of movements in the RV startled you, and when you looked over to the side, you noticed... Oh no! You noticed Cliff has similarly shot up and was looking around wildly.
What's wrong?
Wake up, people! Something happened! Oh my god. Cliff reached over to where Kyra was on the couch. No kiss, I get the funny instead. I like the funny too. where Kyra was on the couch, and she whined as she shook out of her deep sleep enough not to be interrupted by the chaos. Oh, what's going on? And then the lights came on, and you scrambled under the blanket to avoid being seen, but it was too late! Cove? Where are you? Not Cliff waking up the whole... Yeah, not Cliff waking up the whole RV. Like, goddamn. Hibika, are you... Oh. Girl, not the... Oh. It only took a second for Kyra to figure out where her son had gone, and soon you heard Cliff's chuckle as he too realized. You were warned there wasn't much room up there, bud. Cove groaned terribly again, but this time it was out of humiliation. Look at these two trying to kiss and stuff. He moved the hand up from his sore scalp to also cover his shame, rather than face his parents. What's with all the noise out here? To your horror, the door at the back of the RV opened, and Elizabeth, as well as your moms, peeked their heads out into the hall. Is everything okay? Oh, it's nothing. Sorry for waking you up. Cove curled into himself, completely humiliated, as he apologized a couple more times. Not loud enough for anyone other than you to hear, though. Oh my goodness. Let's check on the poor guy. Hey, how's your head? With another whimper, Cove pushed himself onto his side. I should probably get Mom to look at it. Kyra casually came on over to the edge of the loft. She patted her son on the back. Come to Mama, baby. You can't stay there. There was no putting it off. Cove climbed down the ladder, his face still red as a tomato when he reached the bottom. They were trying to kiss without their parents' permission. They were breaking the law. His dad gave him a nudge on the shoulder as he passed, trying to hold back renewed laughter, and his mom pulled him over to give his head a quick look over. After announcing it wasn't anything more serious than a bump, Cove shuffled over to his sleeping bag on the ground. He collapsed into it, not caring if he should be more cautious with his head right now.
Sure.
Alright, show's over. Let's all get some sleep. You could hear the snickers from the back of the RV from your moms and Elizabeth. They really had been watching this unfold like it was entertainment. But at that, they quickly said goodnight and headed to bed. With nothing more you could do, you laid back as the lights went off again. You stayed there completely still until sleep finally overtook you. When you woke up the next morning, it was to the rumble of the RV as it traveled the long journey home. Blinking the sleep from your eyes, you peeked over the edge of the loft slowly, trying not to be seen. Cove was sitting on the couch with his mom, the two of them talking quietly together. His head was hung low. You blush when you remember what it was like last night, just the two of you up in the loft together, and the way you almost kissed. Kyra suddenly looked up and caught your eye, and your face grew even hotter, though she simply smiled at you. You knew it was going to be a long, long time before either of you lived this down, if you ever did. Soon your moms and Elizabeth emerged from their room, dressed and ready for the day of travel. You spent most of the day hanging out together in the RV, savoring the last few hours of vacation. Kyra suggested a few different travel games she used to play with Cove when he was younger, and you all had a great time competing against each other. A little later in the day, you tried to talk to Cove about what happened in the loft, but he simply apologized and changed the subject. It was a bit too much for him to try speaking on, especially right now. You understood. When the RV finally pulled onto your street, it was well into the night, and you were looking forward to crawling into your own bed after the last few days away. Everyone must have been feeling the same, because it was mutually agreed that unpacking and cleaning the RV would wait until morning. Once home again, you went straight up to your room and dropped onto your bed, shoes and all. Let's see. I was happy to be in my own bed. Yay! You stretched out with a smile on your face, enjoying having all the space to yourself. It's awesome coming back from a trip. The reason why, like, I clean my whole house before going on a trip. And the reason why is because there's nothing like coming to a clean house after, like, a long trip and you're like, oh, good. Like, nothing's on the floor, everything's swept up, my bed is made, fresh sheets, I can just hop in and go to bed and not worry about anything. It's awesome. With those last few thoughts drifting through your mind, it wasn't long before you dozed off to sleep. Tomorrow, life would go on like normal. Alrighty! Woo! And that was that chapter! So we're going to click this and say, and then summer ended. Go to the next step, and then save right here. We're going to just save right here. I'm just gonna hit another slot, because why not? Ah, I got a boop from Livy! And a gasp! Oh, you should have played that gasp when, while fucking Ko's dad was waking up the entire RV. Quick! Everybody wake up! The straights are making out! Oh my goodness. Alright, but with that, I think I'm gonna end it there, chat. I think I'm gonna end it right there. Oh, I didn't expect the game to just quit just like that. Sorry about that. Now there's no music and it's kind of awkward. Oh, I'm so glad I added those. Amazing. All right. But with that, yes, I will call it here. I hope everybody enjoyed the stream. I hope the reading was relaxing. I hope it was entertaining. I hope you enjoyed the little tidbits I put in. And I hope you all had a happy Valentine's Day while you had either had like a hot date to attend to, or even if you were just spending a relaxing Galentine's Day at home or whatever you'd like to do. I don't know. Masturbate at home. I hope it was a good one. I hope it was a good one. But yeah. Let me see. There was something else I was gonna say, but you know what? I will just announce it I will announce it on all platforms when I remember. So, with that, let's see. Okay. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. You know that I love the company. Oh, yes! Next stream. Next stream, it says to be announced. Now, it's still to be announced. Let's just say we're gonna phone in Saturday's stream. So you guys will just have to keep watch and see what I'm gonna play that night. So stay tuned. But if you like the vibe, please subscribe, follow, buy me a coffee if you're so inclined. And don't forget that you can join the Discord using either links on my channel, okay? Either on YouTube, or you can go to my Twitch channel. I can even just post it here if I feel like it. There's a command for it if you're interested. And you can do that at any time during the stream. I do not mind. But here are the raid messages. The top one is for my non-subscribers, and then the bottom one is for my lovely subscribers that get all these awesome emotes along with subscribing. Thank you, everyone. Well, Smelly, for the bits. That was pretty awesome of you. Now, let's see who's available for a raid. Let me go over here. Let's see. Oh, no way. Dandelion Days is playing the KFC? Oh, man, everyone's doing a Valentine's stream. This is awesome. Dandy is doing the KFC dating sim. Let's see, Supid is drunk right now during a Valentine's Day stream. But honestly, you want to know who I want to visit? Oh, God. This is going to be a hard pick. Honestly, who did I raid last time? Honestly, I am going to raid GH Coffee because I love this game. It's called Kitty Powers Matchmaker. And basically, you are a matchmaker that has many different clients. I wanted to play it on my channel, But I feel like it's kind of moot because I'm always going to GH Coffee because I just want to watch him play. I just want to watch him play. It's awesome. GH Coffee is amazing. They are a gay mug. They are a variety streamer. And we're gonna go to them. So I hope you all will join me in watching them. And I hope you all have a good night. Alrighty. Alright, raid's all set up. Stick around if you wish. But if not, I wish you all once again a good night. Sleep tight. And remember, folks, tomorrow is another day. Happy Valentine's Day. I love you, chat. Nang kudanai sa. I'll see you next time.